Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Who stood out at rookie minicamp?
Nobody.
I've always thought the coaches here have had really good energy. I mean, I thought Bill's practices were always really high tempo and coaches running to and from drills, and it just didn't feel like a lot of time, being wasted. But I definitely took notice of the energy just overall from all the coaches. I'd also just highlight Scott Booker was the safeties coach, was one guy that really just stood out to me. Booming voice, knows what he's looking for, watching the practice from the back end of the defense. Even Thomas Brown spending a lot of time with Josh McDaniels on the field during that practice as well.
Someone was actually watching practice. I think having a guy like Vrabel and Josh McDaniels on him, I think will limit some of the mistakes.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and the schedule is out. That was the big breaking news last night at 8 o'clock. And as expected, the schedule looks good for the New England Patriots.
Looks good.
Although there's some tough stretches, and we're going to get into that. We're going to dissect this.
Really?
What's that?
You think that?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I mean,
your mic is unprotected.
Yeah,
that's okay.
A naked mic. Watch your P's. Don't pop your P's.
Raw dog in the show here.
Anyway, what happened to Paul Sponge? Paul, are you on the sponge?
I just want to apologize, Alex.
She's the one who said it first.
I made the joke too.
It's just so inappropriate.
Whew, thank God we covered him up.
So we'll talk about the schedule. Congratulations, Celtics. You're showing a little Celtics pride last night. Proud of you.
Medal. Evan's happy. He'll be by later.
Yeah. And what else? We might have a guest.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a guest.
We're going to have a guest?
Member of the defense, I hope.
Okay, well.
Talk some ball.
You can only hope.
Okay.
What else do we want to talk about? We're moving into
probably lead with the schedule, right?
A lot of the schedule is very exciting.
Yeah.
We have our slate of games, which we knew the opponents, and that's why I like what changed. I don't think there was an order you could have put the opponents that would really affect the dynamic that much to me.
Well, I don't know.
You would be in the minority. Everybody thinks this sets up very well for the Patriots.
Well, except for Paul. But anyway, I do think that
I'm with Mike. I already knew who they were playing.
You know who we're playing home and away for a long time. But I think once you start laying it out,
mm-hmm.
it does give a completely different dynamic to that slate of opponents.
I would say it can. I don't think generally that does, but yeah.
Well, how they who they have to play before you and play after you, where it falls during the season.
Yeah.
Who you open up against, who are your prime time. I think now it makes it exciting.
I think the two biggest takeaways for me are one, the three game road trip in October, tough, just 3 road games in a row. I think that's always difficult. Not a lot of travel for the Patriots overall this year. And lastly, just the setup after.
In terms of miles.
It's the
same amount of travel as last year.
Right.
In terms of games.
Just not across the country twice.
Right.
And then just the end. The bye week is late, like it was last year in Week 14. So if you lump Cincinnati into that in Week 12, those last I guess it's 6 games. You're looking at let's say Jets too. So that final bit of the schedule where you're pushing Bills, Ravens, Jets, Dolphins. If you're in the playoff mix, I think you can control your own fate if you can last that long.
I mean, hopefully those last 4 games mean something. That's what you're hoping for. And if they do, it's to me that's the big stretch.
So is that why people? And I'm just wondering because I came in and I had one question for Mike today. What am I missing? Why is this set up so well? Because when I was listening to my shows driving in, a lot of people were calling in. A lot of people some of the hosts were suggesting this was really good news. And I kind of looked at it the way your facial expression just said exactly how I thought. I don't
know if it's good or bad news.
When I look at the schedule, not as many factors as you painted out, but I would say, you're going to play a Thursday night game. Generally, almost everybody gets a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think
there are some teams that don't have any prime time. I think Tennessee doesn't have any prime time.
I thought the rule now was everybody had to play one Thursday night game.
So I always look, where is the Thursday night game? Because I think it's an enormous advantage to be at home. So checkmark plus Patriots. The home game is Thursday night against the Jets on the Thursday night. I think that's a good, beyond that, I'm kind of with Mike. A 3-game road trip is not ideal, but you're playing two teams that are, at least at your level.
Yeah.
In Tennessee and New Orleans on paper. So I don't think it's an overly daunting 3-game road trip. And then I think the end. So I'm wondering, do you think people think it's set up really well because it's kind of bottom heavy? The tough games seem to come, like Mike said, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo, Miami down the stretch might give them a chance to have some of the winnable, quote-unquote, winnable games on paper earlier, so you get to the point where you get to the bye and you are in contention. So maybe you're
sniffing the playoffs.
Maybe that's why people think it's set up well.
Yeah. Six or seven in the AFC to end the season, and then talk so much about Miami trying to beat Tua, having Miami come here, and what is it going to be, January? It's still TBD, but that first weekend in January, that's an exciting – I hope that's an exciting game.
Another check mark in the positive column for the Patriots. Miami in January in Foxborough.
But you get a shot at Tua in the weather. Will he be healthy by that point? This is a team that I think most people look at.
Hasn't been able to win when it's below 40 degrees.
Yeah, right. So there's a lot going into that. Patriots haven't been able to beat Tua. Tua hasn't been able to beat the cold. Something's got to give. So, I mean, that could set up to be a really exciting final game maybe if the Patriots are – in that area of playoff contention. I like not having to, face the Bills 2 times in the last 3 weeks where maybe one of those games you would have gotten the actual Bills, but the last game, like last year, how much do they really need that game? They're playing for something else at that point. So the way that it lines up with at Jets and Miami to end the season, you have, again, 2 opponents in the division, a chance to make some noise and improve your seeding there as the season ends. Even if you had a bad year and things didn't work out right, you still can finish strong, maybe with a win at the Jets and a win against Miami.
What makes me a little nervous is that on paper there's a lot of games that maybe they should take a lot of those in the beginning, and it's such a new team and you don't know how they're going to gel together, and are they going to take advantage of the bad football early on, because you want them to be in a position to be rolling when these really tough matchups against the Ravens and Cincinnati comes in the second half. But again, they have to be ready to go to take advantage of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I pointed out the example of week 1 where it's like Geno Smith. Geno Smith was flawless here last year. Now he's in a new situation with a new coach and they were together. But it's just that there's so many variables. It's so hard to look at and be like, who are the Raiders? Well, I know who Geno Smith was last year. I saw the Patriots lose to a Raiders team, but they're completely different. So that's where I'm with Paul. It's we'll see. We'll see how it lays out. But, with the opponents that they have, it was never going to be an absolute murderer's row.
And I won't disappoint you completely, Freddie. I will sort of offer the other side, and that's one of them. I heard a lot of people say it's really set up for them to get off to a great start. Well, I would say you have
Miami.
You have 3 of the first 4 at home.
Game.
So I think that is an opportunity to get off to a strong start if you can take care of business. Now, they haven't been a good home team the last couple of years. But I would look at it and say Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, to me, doesn't line up in my mind as I'm going to get off to a great start here.
Listen, we won 4 games last year.
Right.
The Raiders, Dolphins, and Steelers are looking at the schedule and say, "Oh, we got the Patriots."
I think if they could go 2-2 in those first 4, I think that would be okay.
Yeah.
Because when was the last time they weren't 1-3?
Oh, yeah. I know. Well, I mean, especially at Miami, that's a house of horrors in week 2 for this
so
team.
Hot there.
No matter if Tom
But to
Brady
your
was
point, I
playing
think people are just looking at the Raiders at home win.
The
Raiders
team
are
are you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm always going to look at it optimistically at the beginning of every year.
Course.
That the moves that they've made, the new head coach, Drake May in his second year, that we're going to be better than we were last year.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is a team that they've been able to beat.
I don't know about these other teams. No. Maybe they're better.
I mean,
I don't know.
That's why I hesitate to say, the spot. I don't know what the spot is until it gets there.
Right. See, now you learn. You can't judge a schedule until you get there.
But I'm not talking about the teams themselves.
You can't judge a schedule by your opponents.
I'm not talking about the teams themselves. I'm talking about the spots. This whole thing of the schedule really sets up well for the Patriots. Well, so if they're playing, let's say, Atlanta, okay, November 2nd they play Atlanta. Did Atlanta start the season 6-2? I don't think that sets up well for you. But maybe they're struggling. Maybe Penix isn't picking it up right away. He's not doing Jaden Daniels last year. He's doing what typical first-time starters do when they struggle, yeah, that sets up well for you. I have no idea until we get to that stage of the season.
And the other thing you have to remember, again, we're a 4-13 team. So we're playing a 4-13 schedule.
Right.
Of course we're playing the other teams that aren't that good.
But that's
But it was the same last year.
Well, that's what I said
They
to
were
Paul.
4-13 2 years ago too.
Exactly. So like right now we're not a good team until we prove otherwise.
Right, well, I said to Paul, it's
So-
like we've been into relegation, right? Like it's like the soccer,
Right,
and I'm not the guy to
We're
make
right
a
on that
soccer
bubble.
comparison,
Right.
but like they were in relegation last year, and this feels again, you're a little bit in relegation. You're playing the other teams that are kind of like you with new coaches and new quarterbacks, and maybe like Atlanta, a lot of people think they're on the upswing, maybe not. But it's the proving ground for this team. Get out of the relegation. Get into a second or first place schedule. Start playing the good teams. But you got to do that by beating all these bad
I
teams
can't
first.
assume anything. I'm just hopeful that, like I said, I laid out all those reasons that we're better than we were.
And I do the same thing that everybody else does, and I like it. I have fun doing Raiders win, Miami loss. I do the same thing.
Sure.
But I think that people look at some of the games in a different way than I think you would look at it if you were taking a step back objectively. And yes, I think there are a lot of teams like I would say just Carolina, New Orleans, Tennessee, Cleveland. Like those, in my view, those are a lot of like teams. You know how you say they're like-minded individual?
yeah.
Those are like Patriots teams that have struggled in recent years and are trying to search for answers. I think a lot of Patriots fans look at those and say, win, 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 win. I look at that and say 2-2.
Right.
And if you can do better than that, that's gravy. Last year, they couldn't do that.
Right.
Last year, they had 4 or 5 of those games. They won one of them. They beat Chicago. They lost to Indianapolis. They lost to Jacksonville. They lost to Tennessee. Those were all like-minded teams last year. Mm-hmm. They lost almost all of them.
Yep.
Those were all games that I think if we all looked at it at this time, we'd say, that's winnable, that's winnable, that's winnable. And in my mind, the winnable games you usually split.
Yeah.
They won the
Last
game
year
that
they-
was like unwinnable with the Bengals, and
Right.
like the rest was just insult to injury.
And that will happen. There'll be a game on here that you're not expecting them to win it, they'll win.
Yeah.
But there's going to be games that you are expecting them to win that they're going to lose.
Now, but I'm not going to hide my enthusiasm.
Nope.
Last year I said ceiling was 6. This year I'm saying ceiling is 10. And because they're that much better. I hope.
Yeah, I hope too.
It'd be nice to be able to talk about a winning team again. Absolutely.
I think it's hard to talk about the team
been a
within the
while.
context
I
of
don't
the
know what
league
that's
right
like
now.
here.
It's been a minute.
We can only talk about what we've seen the Patriots do, and from the coaching decisions, the free agency additions, the draft, I feel excited about this team. I felt like this will be a better football team. How much better? How will they stack up with these other teams? You got to wait and see how it comes together. But I'm with you, Fred. Like, I don't know how it's all going to shake out, but I feel really good about how they're putting this team together and the position that they're in. Yeah. Now I just want to see how does it unfold? How does this team play under Mike Vrabel? What does it look like?
It's
Completely
teams unfold
different,
too,
right?
And that's part of
Right.
it sets up
They
well.
get paid too.
So, there's a game right now, gun to my head, if you had to tell me they're going to win or lose. I have to pick a game that they're going to win. Gun to my head. I have a few options.
Right.
Tennessee would be one of my strong options.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
What if Cam Ward's good?
Right.
What if he's Jaden Daniels like?
Yeah, exactly. What if he's C.J. Stroud even?
Yeah.
His first year.
Okay. Yeah. It's happened each of the last 2 years.
Right.
A team that was dreadfully bad got a rookie quarterback who played right away and magically was good.
Yeah. And the team elevated because of that.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
Yeah. What if Shadur is the Browns quarterback by week 8? What does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe.
But it is.
So Matt Morrell, make sure you log this one. You want to archive this episode because this was the episode that Mike Dussault was excited about the future. That almost never happens.
I know.
He's
Call me
never really
crazy.
excited about anything. So
It was
you keep this one.
I saw Vrabel jump into practice, and I'm like, oh, that's it. 10 wins. He could still play. Is he going to play?
Yeah, I agree with everything Fred said, that I'm looking at all the different things that happened. None of us knows for sure, but I think they made a lot of good moves. I think they should be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've seen
that's
should
why,
be better.
That's why I'm excited, because of the moves, not the schedule.
Right.
I'm excited because of the moves.
Yeah, me too. Well,
Schedule be damned. We'll play them when they come, and we'll play them when we go.
Well,
but it's because of the moves we made that I'm excited.
But it's a much different perspective now, because I'm sure when the schedule used to come out, when things were humming around here that you'd be like, all right, at Kansas City, that's a big game.
Right.
You know, like you start stacking up, we got Phillies coming here. Like you're starting to play the first place ones, you know?
Same thing I used to do then, only in reverse. I would look at the 4 or 5 tough games. Like I'd look at the Baltimore and the Buffalo thing, and I would do the same thing.
Somebody going to get hurt.
You'll probably split those.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never like people would look at that and say, well, there's 4 losses right there. No.
Yeah.
They're the Patriots. They're not going to lose all 4 of them.
No.
Because I used to be obnoxious, remember?
Right.
Now I'm obnoxious the other way.
Right.
Well, even as bad as the Patriots have been the last couple years in terms of wins, they still have had those random wins over the Bills. What? You know,
It's completely, it's bizarro now because, to your point, like last year they beat Cincinnati. No one expected that, Alex?
Yep.
Well, there always was a loss to a team that you never expect. There's no way they're going to lose that game. Oh, my God, they lost to Miami.
Yeah, right. They lose to a bad team.
You know?
So let me ask you a question. Last year, if Vrabel was the head coach and he had his staff that he has now, but the players are the same, the roster from 2024 is the same.
Vrabel
The
brought
difference
everyone
is
back and paid
Vrabel
them.
it's Vrabel and Josh McDaniels as coordinator and all that. What do you think their record would have been last year?
Yeah. I think a couple more wins.
At
I'd give 'em
least,
a couple
right?
More wins. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know about
again,
that.
it's hard to say.
I do.
Who plays quarterback in week 1?
Everything would have
Yeah,
been
do
the
they
same.
ride? So they
So
ride
they-
with
so
So they
Jacoby
would have
for a
ridden
few
with
games?
Jacoby
Yeah, everything
for a
the
few
same.
games.
Everything else the same.
I would make an argument that there was probably a coaching error that led to a loss. So 5 wins, I'll say.
I'd echo those lines.
I
I'd
think
say
they're-
a couple.
I think they
they're
would've-
dramatically more skilled on the field, talent-wise, right now than they were last
Oh
year.
yeah,
100%.
but I think they would have been able to take advantage of some more mistakes than they were last year.
I think
because
so. I mean, I think
they
they
were
would
just a
have
little bit more
yeah.
prepared.
I mean, and
Probably, but
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I can't really quantify it, and I don't think that kind of stuff generally translates to
no,
wins.
it's hard. It's just it goes back to when you were here on Tuesday, Fred. It's like it's hard to give Mike Vrabel and this team a compliment without seeming like you're taking a dump on last year, and like I just want to limit how many dumps I take on last year.
So I say it would have been 2 more wins last year, which means 2 more wins this year, which means the floor is 8 this year.
And that I think is their mean wins right now is like 7.8. So you're right around 8. You're right.
So
you're
I
right.
liked
the math.
I
backs you
liked
up.
the first part of that. Okay, so 2 more wins because I said 1, so 2. I'm not going to split hairs. I don't have enough to give up. But how did you jump from they won 2 more than last year, but they're going to win 2 more?
So follow me.
Now you
Talent.
got 4.
Now we got the talent.
So wait a
talent
minute. So
upgrade.
Vrabel's staff, they won 6 games last year. Now they make the moves. Now they make all the moves they did. At minimum, they get 2 more wins.
I get it. I just think it's high comedy.
The floor is 8. The floor is 8,
The
folks.
floor is 8.
The floor is 8.
Fred has
Except for
spoken.
Paul.
Fred has spoken.
The ceiling is 7 for Paul.
In that area.
Oh, the duality.
But that makes sense.
If we're going to go back and we want to, again, get back to the archives, I'm pretty sure that Fred's ceiling was, Fred's floor was my ceiling last year, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Well, I believe the floor was, in 2021, those were like when we talked with Bill, that it was 6. I thought a good coaching staff, like just a well-oiled team that, they're going to have injuries, but maybe that's a bad number, but 6 was always that number for me if you had the staff in place.
So, we got
visitor.
somebody coming in right now. A special guest to the Patriots Unfiltered. It's Jack Gibbons. Hey, Fred Kirsch. How you doing?
He talks like he's on a talk show.
Yeah, it's the Merv Griffin show.
Hi,
Hey.
Jack. I'm Alex. Nice to meet you.
Have a seat, Jack.
I have to put the seat down for you, I think, Jack. That's going to be a little high for you.
So it's Mike Dussault. I'm Fred Kirsch, Paul Perillo, Alex Francisco. This is Patriots Unfiltered.
That's producer Matt.
Matt Morrell.
What's up, Matt?
We were here all the time, 24 hours a day. They don't let us out. There's no windows. They just bring in food.
Yeah.
So, but welcome to the team.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm
I
excited
think
to be here.
every team needs a linebacker named Jack. I think it should be a requirement.
I agree with that. That would help with my job security for sure.
There you go. There you go. So how's it been so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Definitely loving the guys on the team, the coaching staff, the culture here. I mean, it's cool to be a part of a program that has such awesome history and really enjoying the area too. I didn't really know much about the Northeast, so being from Texas, coming out here, it's a really beautiful part of the country, so I'm enjoying it.
What have you learned so far about the Northeast?
I learned that when it's sunny, it's an awesome place to be.
And when it's not, it sucks.
Yeah,
right?
we'll just stick with the first part.
It's coming. The weather's coming. It's
Summer's
a nice
coming.
nice
It's only
place
gonna
to
get
be.
better.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about your coming up with Mike Vrabel and breaking in a couple years ago, and then really in 2023 I think you played a bunch under him, and what was the connection you made with him, and how did he help your development?
Yeah, definitely. Coming in as an undrafted guy, obviously the odds were kind of stacked against me, and I actually cut me out of training camp, and then I got brought back on the practice squad and was kind of grinding away for there, and then finally got an opportunity late in the year when guys started going down. But I think a big thing with him is he always says, like, it doesn't matter how you got here, it's what you do when you get here, and you can earn opportunities by the way that you work and the way that you prepare and play. And so that's something I really appreciated about him, that they were willing to give a guy who's an undrafted rookie, put him out there and start in a Thursday night football game. That was a great opportunity for me, and luckily kind of played pretty well there and earned some more opportunities going forward, like you said. But that's something that's really cool about this program and him and his staff, is that they don't really care how you got there. It's what you do when you're there.
How would you describe, like, you're mostly in the middle, or at least you were in Tennessee. How would you describe your game as a linebacker? You're like a sideline to sideline guy. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in being a versatile player. Like that first game that I was active as a rookie, I actually played all three linebacker positions. I was on the edge a little bit, both inside backers spots. And I like to say that I'm a smart guy, pretty instinctive, and be able to kind of handle all that, but then also anticipate what the offense is going to give us and get a kind of a head step. But I think in this league, you kind of have to be a complete linebacker. You can't really be like just the old school run stopper, coverage guy. So I'm trying to kind of develop my game and be in all those areas, be good in coverage, be good against the run, be good blitzing, just kind of be a well-rounded linebacker.
Yeah. So is that sort of versatility where Dr. Gibby came from?
Yeah, that was kind of like my rookie year, and like OTAs like this. Coach Vrabel likes to ask a lot of questions, quiz guys, and I answered a few of them right, and he started calling me doctor, and it kind of stuck there for a little while, and then he left, it kind of died down, and now out here he's kind of the only one calling me that, maybe a few of the guys from Tennessee.
Mike's a bit of a smart ass. I don't know
for sure.
He's been busting my chops since he was playing. So
yeah.
Speaking of doctor, how are you feeling? You had a season-ending injury last year, right?
Yeah, that was definitely it's been a process getting back, but I'm feeling good. I'm out there practicing with the guys, trying to get better every day, just kind of continue to build those reps and get more comfortable, trusting myself, trusting that I'm healed, and working really hard in the training room with the staff in there. And so it's going well.
Do you think having a head coach who was a linebacker helps you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from the beginning in Tennessee, like in rookie minicamp, we're sitting in there and he's coming in and giving us little nuggets here and there and helping us see the game from a different perspective. So definitely try to absorb all the knowledge that you have. But he's a coach that really could coach all the positions on the field. That's something that I thought was really cool, is we'll always have these meetings where he's up there coaching detailed technique about the O-line, the corners, the wide receivers, the linebackers and stuff. And so just learned so much football those 2 years in Tennessee, and that I was with him. And that's something that I really appreciate about him, is even on like special teams, everything, he's coaching everything with detail. So that's cool.
I got to ask you a little about the defense. I'm kind of the resident defense guy.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask about Mike's role in defense.
I'm like, why are we drafting the defense guys? And they're all yelling at me. But what can you tell us about this defense? Because been here for a while, studying the old Patriots 3-4, going way back, where you got a lot of two-gappers and space eaters. And it would seem to me that this defense with Terrell Williams is about attacking, about getting upfield. I know you can't give away too much, but what can you tell us about this defense?
Yeah, I think that, for one, I think we got a great group of guys. I think we've got a lot of competition at every position, which is going to help make the whole team better, the defense better. And like you said, I think it's going to be really aggressive. We're going to be I think everyone's trying to do things that are simple for us but difficult for them, that try to marry up some stuff, make things look like this, and then we're coming with something else. And I think that it's going to be really exciting. I think that what's going to bring it to life is the guys, and I think that we have the right guys that are going to play hard and obviously super talented, but be super connected. Already the communication and connection and out there on the field, off the field, the way guys talking to each other is better than I've seen in my first 3 years. So I'm really excited about that.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about what the team did. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday with the community outings and Alex, what that experience was like. I know, Alex, you were at.
I wasn't with Jack's group. I was with Vrabel's group. But which place did you go?
Yeah, it was super cool. I don't really know where everyone else went, but I was at Pine Street Inn, which is the
awesome.
homeless shelter
Great
down
place.
in South Boston, and it was super cool. We were able to make a meal for them and then serve it to the most men's and women's shelter and interact with them, the people that were staying there, and get a tour of the facilities, kind of see what their life's like, what the mission that they're doing there, and they're doing some amazing work. So it was super cool, super humbling to be able to experience that.
Is getting out in the community important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I think is super cool, and especially for the Patriots and Coach Vrabel and them to provide such a cool opportunity like that where we can go do that as a team. That even brings us even closer together. And, it's awesome to be able to give back wherever you can.
Do you have any causes that are near and dear to you? Anything special?
Yeah, I really like to support anything that has to do with like children's, especially children who are dealing with like a terminal illness and things like that. So like St. Jude's and stuff like those causes that the Ronald McDonald House, things like that.
You'll have plenty of opportunity here.
Yeah, we have some great children's hospitals.
Yeah.
Get you on some visits.
Absolutely. I had a question. Oh,
I could jump in with a defense question.
Well, I was going to say this. So schedule release came out last night. Is that a big deal for players? Like when the schedule comes out, or it's like whatever.
If you haven't seen it, it's right.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely waiting for it and looked at it, but like everything, by the time we get to the season, it's one at a time, so you can't really look at it too big picture. But it is cool to kind of see, like, I mean, if we got. I know we got like 3 in a row on the road, so thinking about something like that, of how we're going to have to really lock in for that stretch, or especially if you got like an international game or something like that, where your bye week is kind of what you're looking for. But at the end of the day, I mean, we kind of knew who we were going to play, and it's going to be week by week, kind of head down, focused on what's in front of you. So it's kind of both, I guess. Excited to see it, but not reading too much into it.
So that's basically when it comes out, you're looking at individual things like night games.
Yeah, definitely want to see those primetime games, the night games, anything where you might have to travel, just kind of see it. But I mean, honestly, like after last night, kind of forget about it until the season. So
sure.
I got one more for you, Jack.
See, I'm like Jack.
You played here last year with Tennessee. You had a good game. Just what was your impression of coming here and playing the Patriots last year?
Oh, we actually played them in Tennessee.
Oh, sorry.
Patriots came out there, but I had a great impression of the team, just the way that the Patriots kept fighting and clawed their way back into that game, and then Drake taking the guys down to tie the game late and score. I was really impressed with his mobility. He ran all over us. I was telling him that the other day. I was like, I didn't know you could run like that. But just, I had a great impression of the team, just kind of the way they played, and excited to get on those guys' side and get to work.
Well, Jack, we'll let you get back to it. I know you're busy. Anytime you want to come by, you know where we are now.
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. Jack Gibbons.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
All right, Jack.
Hey, great to meet you all.
Yep. All right, Jack Gibbons.
Bye, Jack. Have a good one.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
All right.
Get those defenders in here, Paul.
Yep.
Mike gets really excited when defensive
I know,
players come in.
Look at still smiling.
I like undrafted. Got cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Came back. Reminded me Troy Brown.
Yeah.
Got cut a couple times by Parcells.
Yeah.
Came back on the team and ended up being like Mr. Patriot.
It's interesting how he's going to fit in with Ellis and Spillane, and I really thought it was interesting hearing him say he played all 3 linebacker positions, which I'm not sure exactly that they're going to play a lot of nickel, which is 2 linebackers. Like, who are those 2 guys? I think Spillane's definitely one of them, but Gibbons is in that similar mold of being able to run, and that was kind of one of the questions, nerdy, that I had teed up, but just that position at linebacker. We talked about it a lot last year of how hard it is to either get around or get through blocks and to recognize things. And, him talking about the experience and the smarts of it all, I think that must be such a big key for an inside linebacker, getting experience, understanding the blocking schemes, because it's just so hard. Having played freshman football, the position I can comment on, but it was, you all of a sudden got 2 guys coming out at you. Like, I understand the dynamics of the position, on the basic level, and from his perspective, it's nice to have a guy like that who can run, and I think it'll add a lot to the second level.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Jack is like a perfect New England name too.
Jack.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, every team should have a linebacker named Jack. Don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Yep.
Is that because of like Lambert and Ham?
Yeah, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham. Yeah.
Jack Campbell, Detroit.
Jack Campbell, that was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't think of any others.
There's a lot of Jacks out there now. That was a very popular name. I feel like the last decade or so of kids.
Well, who was it?
Everybody's got a
doesn't
Jack.
Ohio State have a Jack?
Jackson.
Jack linebacker.
Yeah, Jackson is like the new take on the name.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. All right. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. I know the newsletter's going out tomorrow, and a lot of documentary stuff going on in there.
Well, why don't you tell us why?
Because tomorrow the Patriots are releasing Forged in Foxborough. And I don't know the exact time that it will drop, but you'll be able to see it on YouTube primarily. It's a full-length thing. It's over an hour long, and it's episode 1. There'll be another episode coming out later, closer to training camp. But I'm really excited about what people have to say about it.
I'm excited too. These are right up my alley. These are the kind of things though that we produce where I don't really want to watch it until it's actually out. Like it would kind of ruin it to be part of, like I'm not part of the process with it, so it's like kind of nice for me. Just wait till it's done and then experience it with the fans. But from what I've seen, it looks really fun. A lot of behind the scenes stuff.
He has to experience it with the fans.
With the fans.
With the fans.
Man of the people,
And there he
just like
is,
you.
He's a fan at
with the
heart.
fans.
He'll always be a fan.
That's right. That's right. I can't forget my people.
Yep.
So Mike's working on some 1985 Patriots.
Well, I got to write a game day article, but the way I've been doing it is I've been watching the TV broadcast of the game in order. So it's
so that's bringing me back
it's
to
a
my
rock fight,
fond
Fred.
days.
It's a rock fight
in 85.
Fred. Oh man,
A lot of rock fights.
Oh my God, But I was telling Paul, it's funny watching the TV broadcast because you pick up a lot from the announcers. They have little stories, and so it's not just like looking at the box score or telling you how it unfolded. But one funny thing I told Paul was they were playing the Bucks. And Steve DeBerg is just incompletion, and then they show like Steve Young on the sideline. Like, well, they can't play him yet. It's too soon for him. Maybe next year. And it's like, holy crap!
Why play a future Hall of Famer?
You got a Hall of Famer just sitting watching the game, and they're like, we can't play. I mean, it's like October. I'm like, what? He needs the whole year off. But you see, rookie Bruce Smith was also that year and just destroying the Patriots. But it's fun to just go back and inform. I'll be interviewing some of those guys, so it'll be good.
Nice. Look forward to that. And then again, Forge and Foxborough will drop tomorrow.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
It's long too, right, Fred? The Forge and Foxborough.
I said, well, this episode is over an hour. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it's all, like Alex said, all behind the scenes stuff. The staff, the football staff has given us great access, continuing to give us great access.
Have you guys ever had access like this?
Not to this
We never
extent.
had access to the team meeting that they shot. That's,
Yeah.
I think, the only thing that we haven't had access to.
Well, I think, and also a lot of
Seemed like a lot of the draft room
practices.
stuff
I
too,
mean,
maybe.
Yeah, we've
they're-
had that.
like we're in the weight room. Like we never were able to do that.
Is there a certain point, Fred? I mean, without giving anything away, but is there a certain point that was most interesting to you? Like, was it like the combine behind the scenes, or the draft behind the scenes, or anything like that stood out to you as being
well, like Paul
notable?
said, being able to be there for the first team meeting.
Yeah.
We've never seen that before.
We've never done that. We've never even shot it. Like, there's a lot of these things that we've been able to have cameras at in the past. They're not always made public, but we've been able to have sort of eyes and ears to shoot things.
Yeah.
That team meeting, to my knowledge anyway, I don't think we've ever had access to.
No.
That's a first time ever.
Such a big moment for Vrabel too, because first time speaking to the team, setting the tone. We saw the clip that he had with Caden Wallace, which I liked. I like when coaches do that kind of creative stuff, so I'm excited to see
and I mean, we've never been had quite the access that we had this year at the combine. Being up in the suite. And you'll see it. I don't want I don't want to give away too much. I want people to be able to see it.
No spoilers.
But I think if you're a Patriots fan and you watch this thing, you're ready to go. You're going to finish this thing. So let's go. Let's get this season going. We've got the schedule. Come on.
That's it.
Let's skip training camp. Let's get right out there. Put the pads on. Let's go.
I love it.
So I'm
always for that. Skip training camp. Let's just get right to the games.
Yeah. All right. So 855-PATS-500. Let's get into it a little bit. I forgot to give Matt Morrell my lunch order. Oh, you got it? What
Took care of you.
What'd you get me? Chicken fingers?
I got you cheese pizza.
I can't hear you. What did you say? Hold on. He's learning how to run the board.
I thought I was doing sign language.
Yeah, it still doesn't work. All right. That's all right. I trust that you'll have food for me. All right. Thank you.
Oh, you got a thumbs up.
Okay.
Thank goodness Freddie will not waste away.
Let's go to Nate in Connecticut. What's up, Nate?
Hey, guys. Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just had a couple quick thoughts and a couple questions to you guys. So I saw the schedule released last night, and I thought it was really well done. But something to point out is that we're going against the Raiders week 1, and I think that's a really good matchup because all the free agency and the draft we put into the D line going against Ashton Genty. I think that'll be a really good matchup because Ashton Genty, he's saying to NFL GMs draft the guy you can't tackle, just stuff like that. And my second question to you guys is, since we're going against the Ravens and a couple other teams this year that have mobile quarterbacks, do you think we're going to have success or even better success since we have all the mobile linebackers like Robert Spillane and like Jack Gibbons that was just in studio? And yeah, thanks guys.
Okay, thanks, Nate. So a couple questions there.
It's good.
We'll see.
You know, going up against Ashton Genty. Hey, it's going to be his first real NFL game. Like, I'm assuming he's going to play in the preseason, but this will be the first time he's probably going to play maybe against starters from the other team. So that's going to be great to watch.
It's like it goes back to Paul's point. Like, we'll see what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us liked Ashton Genty coming out,
but then
Maybe the one that got away from
Michael
you.
wanted to draft him.
But, you know, whether it's Genty or his second question, defending mobile quarterbacks, I'll ask our defensive guy here, do you think the Patriots are more equipped to do that this year? Are they a faster defense?
I mean, a little bit, but I would say I think you're going to get, with the good, I think there'll be some bad too. I think you'll be able to not be as susceptible to early down passing because you're not going to have the early down two-gapping, guys just trying to build the wall, not getting penetration because on those early downs, that's easy for the quarterback. There's no pressure coming right. I think this defense is getting off the ball every single time. So on one hand, you're going to be better against the pass on early downs, but I also think that has the opportunity to open up lanes and gaps, and so there you might get gashed from time to time. Yes, having mobile linebackers should help running down quarterbacks, but again, if you're aggressive and then you take a false step against Lamar Jackson, it could be 6 points. So it's a double-edged sword a little bit to me. You hope you win more than you lose.
Yeah, you become a little bit more vulnerable, but you have the ability to make more plays.
But you have more speed on the field, and I think that's something that is apparent to me across the place. I mean, just look, you swap out Milton Williams for Devon Godchaux. I mean, I know that they kind of play different positions, but at the same time, between Spillane, between Jack Gibbons, between even Christian Ellis, like everybody can run now. There isn't that big middle linebacker that you're like, well, he's not going to be quite able to, get the edge against the faster quarterbacks.
David's in Florida. Hey, David.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
So I had a little bit of constructive criticism, and then I had a question afterwards. I'll start with the constructive criticism. So I watched the schedule release video we put out yesterday, and I feel like it was a little bit underwhelming.
Which one?
I understand the Dave Portnoy one.
Okay.
I know it can't be fireworks every year because the last couple of years we've had some really great ones. I just felt like it was a little bit underwhelming and it wasn't as creative. That's all. Obviously, not really a huge deal, but
no, fair enough. Yep.
And then for my question, it's like a three-part question here. So looking at our schedule, which game are you most excited for as a fan? Which one are you most confident in?
Ooh.
And then which one are you most scared of?
Wow.
I'll take it off here, guys.
Okay, most confident, most excited, and most scared of. Thanks, Dave.
I'm going to go. Excited at Buffalo, Sunday Night Football. Maybe Diggs coming back against his old team. It's just a real chance to make a real win there. Game that what do you say was scary?
Most scared and most confident.
The last game against Miami. Having an opportunity to maybe get in the playoffs or do something and then losing again to Tua.
Yeah.
That scares me again, especially at home.
I have to say right now, I'm most excited for the home opener.
Sure.
It's the home opener.
That was my
nice being home.
Most excited about home opener.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer being on the road for the opener. I feel like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the most scared of at Baltimore.
You don't fear no man.
I don't like that game.
Well, see, I'm not scared of that one because I know it's going to be tough. No, like we're probably going to lose that game.
He grew up on the Cape.
So,
well, that's why I'm afraid of it.
Yeah. So it's not a game like I'm most scared of at New Orleans because we don't do really well there.
I'm not a baby, so I'm not afraid of teams that we should beat.
I think that's
the game I'm most confident in.
That's the point. You look at it and say, "Oh, we should beat that," but we don't do well in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And if we lose that game,
why not?
I don't know why.
When was the last time we lost there?
We lose there a lot, Paul. We do.
When was the last time?
I don't know. I forget. But I just remember
Monday night and Drew Brees.
I just remember
2009 game.
I just remember going there and not doing well. But it's a game like I feel we should win.
I agree.
And if we don't win,
that's the game I'm most confident in.
I'm scared of losing that game.
Yeah, that's understandable.
The game I'm most confident in at Bengals.
Perfect.
That's the Freddest answer ever. I love it. That's an awesome answer.
At Bengals.
I mean, did you hear Trey Hendrickson the other day?
Alex,
I mean, it's something every year with these guys,
Oh, yeah.
with contracts.
The
I mean,
digital version.
it's like
When we
trying to
play at
hold
Penn
together things with silly putty right now.
Yeah. What are we doing over
What are you
there?
talking about?
We're looking
Guys
at.
are on
We're
phones.
looking at the schedule. We play Penn State in like October.
What's that?
The Cleveland Browns helmet looks like a Penn State helmet. I have
'Cause
about
it's
12
just-
people
Our
text me like,
graphic has it just, it's white.
It's a
and
white helmet.
Navy.
Maybe,
'cause
maybe they're colorblind.
yeah, I had a lot of people reaching out to me last night. Since when is Penn State on the schedule? I was like, I don't know. I don't have any. Like, people make fun of me. Like, I don't have any control of this.
I blame
stuff.
the
It's not
Browns for
me.
having no logo and just an
Yeah.
orange helmet. Like, come on.
Maybe that's their color rush helmet. I don't know.
No, it's just because our graphic is red,
So,
white,
what
and
game are you
blue, and-
most looking forward to, Alex?
I would say home opener. Just because it's so exciting. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's just an energy
Yep.
about
Right.
being down on pregame.
Hope
and
springs eternal.
no
Yeah,
one's hope
everybody's
that-
0-0.
Well, right. No one's lost hope yet. We still
Right.
have life in our eyes.
Right.
The Panthers game doesn't really frighten me much at all.
That was a
Yeah, that's in the
candidate for
running
my
for
most
it.
confident.
What are you most scared of?
I'm most scared of that last Dolphins game.
Yeah. But it is home.
It's
at
home,
least.
but that's why
But
I
it
feel like
kind of
there's
scares
more
me for reasons
pressure
like you
on
said,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like there's a
that.
little like pressure on it. Like that would
Especially
be.
if we're in a situation
Yeah.
where we can make a little
Win
playoff
it, win
bid,
and
you
you're
know?
in.
Yeah, right. And Tua's healthy. You're like, oh.
But Tua never wins when the temperature's below 40.
But it's going to be 40.5 degrees at game time. What does it mean?
Something's gotta give.
40 degrees at that time of year.
All right.
Take
I'd
it
be
right.
thrilled.
That'd be great.
Let's hit up Cam in East Providence. What's up, Cam?
Calm.
How's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Good energy.
How's it going? So I have a question, and then I have I have two questions. So the first one is, so I'm the one at training camp. I make the big posters for the players. So I was wondering, can one of you guys give me a player to make? That's one of the questions. Can you guys pick any player on the roster so I can make them?
Robert Spillane.
Robert Spillane? All right, sounds good. Second question.
Moses Morgan.
So going into training camp with the stacked wide receiver room that we have, who is on their verge of on their way out?
Oh, I missed that one.
I missed that
So-
because Fred was butchering names and it threw me off. Who was on his way out?
Yeah.
Who, like, why is someone on the way out?
Who's on the chopping block and the wide receiver block?
Oh, God.
Oh, okay. Wide receiver. What wide receiver might be
Kendrick
on the way
Bourne
out?
comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not going to have the same amount of receivers in September that they have now. So there's quite a few.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Bourne and Booty are probably on that list. I think Baker was probably on that list.
The Bees.
Do you think via trade?
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I don't really know if any of those guys has much trade value, but yeah, I mean, I'd take the day 3 pick for anybody if I
No,
could.
you take it, but do you think that's how they'll be?
No, I think that
Yeah.
someone will end up
Just
getting
get
released.
cut.
Right.
I think they'll probably keep this group largely intact into the offseason, into the OTAs, which,
Right.
by the way, we'll get a look at our first look at the entire team next week at
Yeah.
an OTA, I think
Tuesday.
on the 20th. Yeah.
I think it
Um,
might be during the show too, so we
Thanks,
might
Cam.
have to,
Oh.
might have to adjust.
So maybe I will not be getting a look then. Maybe you and
Oh, maybe
you
we'll
and Evan
adjust
will.
the time. We'll see. Talk about it.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that Fred's got it. I think it's like a Bourne, Booty, Baker, the killer bees.
But I like your point about Booty because to
Let
be
him-
honest,
let him compete.
Yeah, I mean that's generally how I feel too. But guy who made a second-year leap and now he's got Josh McDaniels coming in, and what can he do with Keyshawn Booty? I'm not overly optimistic that he's going to continue to grow, but I think he's done everything he possibly can to deserve every chance that he
Diggs
gets.
may not start right away.
Yeah,
Might
need
need
to
to
consider
keep-
that's part of the
So that-
calculus too.
They
that
might not
opens
have
up
to
a
make
spot
that
at
decision
least
for
for
a
a
couple
few
weeks.
weeks for somebody.
If he's PUP to start,
Right.
which a lot of people have sort of speculated,
Yeah. You can kind of let it play out into the season.
To me, I look at Bourne with that situation because I think Bourne is the most suitable second backup behind
Yeah.
Diggs of what they're going to
But-
ask Diggs to
but
do.
you look at all right, who's a lock? I think obviously Diggs at some point's a lock.
Yeah.
I
Williams
think
and-
Polk, believe it or not, I think he's a lock for
Nope.
now. I do, and I think obviously Kyle Williams is a
he's
lock.
he's a lock.
You know,
Yeah.
Hollins is a
Matt
lock,
Collins.
yeah.
and
So there's
Douglas
4.
and Douglas is a lock. I do not think
5.
Polk is a lock.
So I'm at 5. You're at 4.
Yeah, I have 4 locks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about
So,
right.
and how many are you going to keep? 7?
Probably 6.
Yeah, so, you know.
But it could, I mean, you could keep 7 too, especially if Diggs is one of those 7.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe he's not on PUP, but maybe not quite ready to go. Like, you know, one of those kind of deals.
The only
so,
thing.
So people will have to, you know, be cut.
And
or,
I did
or
think it was
trade.
interesting when Kendrick Bourne talked last week. He mentioned that he sort of underestimated the recovery.
Yeah.
And how much that it still affected him.
Yeah.
Coming off the torn ACL that he had the previous season, and he didn't feel like he was quite himself. So even if you're out there playing and you're 100%, quote unquote, maybe you're not quite ready to be Stephon Diggs yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Hi, Evan.
Evan has returned from the media workroom.
It's been a busy week
I
for Evan
noticed-
since he was last on this show.
I noticed 2 days ago you weren't at work, and today you are. Is anything different between 2 days ago and today?
Well, I took a pre-scheduled day off on Tuesday.
Oh, it was pre-scheduled.
It was.
So you knew the Celtics were going to lose.
No, I went
You
to the
knew he
Kendrick
was
Lamar
gonna-
concert
Yeah.
on Monday night, and
He ripped it up pretty good.
How are
Yeah?
you feeling
Is
the
that
next
right?
morning?
I am still.
Did you
I'm
body
old.
surf?
I'm old, and I
you're
still
still
have
feeling
not
it.
recovered. And then I was at the Celtics game
I
last
heard you got
night.
into it with a Shizza fan.
Shizai.
No, I did not get into it with anybody at the Kendrick Lamar concert. Last night at the Celtics game, I can't really say as much, but
there's some Knicks fans?
no, I'm just kidding.
Chirping?
Ish.
All
Well,
right.
you did have an incident at a game this year, didn't you?
Oh, I stay out of trouble. My father keeps me out of trouble,
Okay.
actually, to be honest.
Sometimes trouble
Because
comes to you.
When road team fans come
Got to have road etiquette.
to Celtics games, it drives me nuts. I'm not going to lie. It absolutely drives me up a wall.
Even if they have road fan etiquette, or if they're obnoxious.
It's
we're
like
talking
it
about
still
Knicks
rubs me the
fans.
wrong way regardless.
You feel like I'm at home. I want to be able to enjoy the game among my fans, among other fans.
Yeah, and like I'll just say, last night these Knicks fans came in.
Was it Chalamet?
And they're peaking already.
Chalamet.
because
Evan
they
doesn't
won
have
the
those
series.
seats.
Well, you know, without Tatum, so they think they're here for a party, right? Like, they
Yeah.
think that they're here for Knicks in 5, and I just like want to remind them, like, you're the New York Knicks, like you haven't won a championship in 50 years, like that was never my mindset, like pre-2004 Red Sox, like you didn't count your chickens before they hatched. Like you made sure the Red Sox were gonna win before you started celebrating. Like you know the choking. Like you know how this goes. Like I would just, you know.
I agree. I
like-
think there's a chance. There's a chance.
Don't let us.
I'm not saying
don't
there's
let
a
us win
chance.
much-
There's
I'm
a
just
I'm
saying,
saying there's a chance. I'm
you
saying
know,
they could
don't
choke tomorrow
come in-
night.
Of course, there's a chance.
Don't come to Boston and start, going around chanting Knicks in 5 and things like that.
Yeah.
And expect not to get any smoke. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Should-
All right.
Should have yelled at Chalamet.
Did they pipe down
yeah.
in the second half of the
it
game?
was that. I mean, it was all therapeutic based off of the 24 to 48 hours Celtics fans have had.
I love the way they played. I think they was gritty. They played really good defense at times. There was blood everywhere. It was good. It was good. Where are you coming from?
Christian Barmore's press conference, the first time that we've spoken to him since, unfortunately, since the reoccurring of the blood clots last year. He, obviously had to get pulled off the field again. So he says he's a full go. He's a full go right now.
Really?
And,
He says he's 100%.
Yeah, he said he's a full go, and no restrictions, no limitations. Participating fully in the off-season program, cleared for football activities. Expectation is that he will be ready to go for training camp and be playing his normal self. He said, he's growing some. It's more like a confidence thing that he has to build back up. That he's not gonna have any more setbacks or anything like that, and so he's starting to feel a lot more like himself and all optimistic. All positive things. I think it's
good news. Great
at
to
this
hear.
point,
Great
it
news.
was almost like he wanted to stop talking about it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like
Well-
in his past, and he wants to move on.
Was he asked about going back on the IR at all, or?
Yeah, he was asked about just his emotions and having to go back and what happened. That and he didn't really want to get into the medical stuff of like what really occurred. But yeah, I mean, as you would expect, he said it was tough. Like he was angry, he was upset because he put in a ton of work to get back on the field at all, and then to have it pop back up, I think was tough for him. But he said now that he doesn't feel like he has any fear that it's going to happen again.
Did he like get into like what was done or what he's doing that gives him confidence that it won't reoccur?
He did say that, there's maybe some tweaks, to diet and things like that, just trying to really take care of himself. Not that he wasn't before, but, just maybe even more so, now that this has happened to him. But he didn't really seem to think that it was, anything that he did. It's kind of just like a freak thing that happened to him. And like I said, he's full go right now, in terms of
that's great news.
How much of a full go you could be in May.
Right. Now, how did he? Well, it's hard to know, but like, how did he look? Like, hefty wise.
I thought he looked a little bit slimmer than the last time we saw him.
Okay.
And that's not a knock on him whatsoever. But when he had the blood clots, you can't really work out. Like, it's not like you're really doing much. You have to really let your body heal. And I thought he looked a little svelter than the last time that we saw him.
He's got time to put that back on.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. Like, I think when we saw him last year, he was out of shape. I think he was a little bit heavier than what he was playing at the year before when he had the great season. So he looked more like, the 2023 body type and, Christian Barmore than he looked last year.
When I saw him yesterday at the community event, I agree with you. I thought he looked a little slimmer, and then, granted, he was running around with 8-year-olds, but he was running around. It was a nice warm day yesterday, and he was moving.
Any questions, Ev, about how he feels like he'll fit into this new scheme?
No, we didn't get too much into that. I was thinking of asking that, but, there's a lot of questions about his road back and the medical stuff and all.
You didn't feel like chiming in with a football
question? I don't think
question?
this was the time. Maybe when we talk to him again in minicamp, that would be a better time.
He didn't say anything about lining up next to Milton Williams?
He did talk about Milton Williams, but more from a work ethic standpoint.
Yeah, they've been having a little thing, right?
Yeah, he's been really impressed, he said, with Milton Williams' work ethic, and they have a competition of who gets here first at the beginning of the day.
Don't speed.
Maybe it's a sandwich bet or something
Mike beat
like
me
that.
today, which is a rarity.
Okay.
Usually I'm first. Yeah.
Well,
but Mike was here first.
Mike, you can walk to work.
No, I was ride my bicycle.
Let me tell you, it was a trek today.
Yeah.
In the rain.
Yeah,
do you think I could sell my wife on an electric motorcycle at some point? Because I was like, I could just drive to work on
an electric motorcycle.
Why not?
Motorcycle, yeah. Would that be cool?
How about a Vespa?
Yeah.
Imagine you coming in a Vespa with your little helmet.
Little basket in the front.
I'm not going to tell the story now, but I've driven a little embarrassing scooter like that before and just was completely oblivious to how embarrassing it was. No.
Doesn't surprise me.
Why?
Well, you can get your motorcycle permit when you're 16, and that means you can ride a motorcycle by yourself.
Yeah.
And so my dad had this it's a Honda Helix. It was a red one. So if you want to Google it, you're watching it, go look at it. It's pretty bad. And so I just started riding it to school once I got my permit. But it's like a Vespa basically. People are like, nice bike. I'm like, hey, I'm not taking the bus anymore.
He puts that little backpack that rides too high on his back. He puts that in the little basket in the front. Right.
It didn't have a basket, Paul. I didn't have anywhere to put my helmet. I was like, I can't leave my helmet here. Sorry, I got to go back to Barmore, though, real quick, just to shift back to Patriots.
Back to football,
But just to say, I think he could really blossom in this scheme. They're not going to ask him to, all right, Christian, two-gap, right? They're just going to play to his strengths and tell him to go get the quarterback. Like him and Milton Williams, that should be an absolute nightmare if he's fully healthy.
Right.
Well, that was what Milton Williams said when he talked the other day was, it's the two of them are kind of the ones that they're trying to lead the charge here together as a tandem. And I wonder, typically speaking, you don't play both with three techniques out over the guard. So who's going to play over the nose? Who's going to be the guy on the inside? And how do they, it's probably going to be Barmore. He's bigger. He's 320. Milton Williams is 295. So it's probably body type wise, it would be him. So, he might see more double teams in there. He might have more run responsibilities in there. So, those are little things that I am just looking for is how do they put both those guys together in spots and how do they cover up the middle of the field, because both those guys, to your point, Deuce, want to get up the field and want to make plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage and defeat blocks and things like that. But you can't have both guys doing that. Someone's got to hold the middle, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that works together.
Home. Yep. What do you got?
Wow.
Oh, there's your little red thing. Show
Send
it
me
to
that.
the camera. Can
Your
you
little
show
red
it?
thing.
That was my bad motorcycle.
I don't know if the camera can zoom
That's
in enough on
exactly.
that.
Probably can't zoom in.
That's
too
exactly
well.
what I expected.
Yeah, it looks like one of those little Vespas. Yeah. Yeah.
What's with the sound effect?
Sorry.
All right, back to the phones.
He drove to school like that.
Let's go to Dakota in
Because
Nebraska.
high school kids aren't judgmental at all.
You get it. You get it.
What's up, Dakota in Nebraska? Dakota. No,
It's actually Nebraska
in Dakota, right? All right, he's not there. So everyone's favorite caller, Christian in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. Good morning, good afternoon over there.
Hey.
Thank you guys for taking my call here from sunny LA, where it's beautiful outside. So I know everyone's already talked about the schedule being favorable and how that seems like it's going to obviously result in more wins for us. And I took a look at the schedule, and I believe, like Coach Vrabel believes, that we're in a great position to take advantage of bad football by other teams, which it seems like, based on the schedule and what the teams did last year, we're going to see a fair amount of. And it should get us, at best, close to it into the playoffs, right? So that's supposed to feel good. But I'm thinking of the long-term health of the team. I know it sounds like I'm poo-pooing the potential playoff run that we could be on, but it seems like we have the potential to do what the Browns did several years ago with Baker Mayfield, where they took advantage of a seemingly soft schedule, and it made the team look like they were better than they were. And as a result, they wound up in the bottom middle of the draft for the next 3 or 4 years and really could not build the team more than they had already gotten to at that point. And I could kind of see a little bit of that for us. Or do you guys see that where, let's say we went 8 and 9, we'd be in a good position to pick up someone next year to really continue to build the foundation of the team for the long term. We go 12 and 5, and it's 2 or 3 years before we can get a decent position in the draft to get anybody to really help continue to build the team for the long term.
Do you want him to get better or not?
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I'm not worried about the draft. I'm worried about winning football.
No, and if the option is
wants to win it.
if I have
I
two
want to
choices
win
to
it
go
too.
12 and 5 or 8 and 9, I'll take 12 and 5.
Right.
Well, 12 and 5 is pretty extreme.
That's a good, but that's a good football
If
team.
you win, if you're 12 and 5, we're back.
My urgency to get another good player in the draft is not that high if I can go 12 and 5. The schedule's not that bad that you're just beating 12 bad teams.
And by the way, if we end up 8 and 9, we're getting there.
But
so I'll take it.
I don't think anybody in Washington right now is saying we had a cupcake schedule.
Oh my God!
last year.
We cut the line. We went to the NFC Championship game before we got another good draft pick.
No, and what that, I know what you guys are saying, I'm with you, but what that results in for the long-term health of the team, I don't want a 2-year run where we win a couple of, we won this year, oh boy, we won this next year, and then for the next 5 years.
The problem.
Do you think the Commanders are worried about that?
I just push back on the entire premise. Cleveland is a pretty talented football team that had no quarterback. Baker Mayfield crapped out. If he continued to, if he didn't get hurt the next year and he continued to play the way he did the previous year, he'd probably still be in Cleveland. And that team wouldn't be that bad. I mean, Myles Garrett's a pretty good player. Nick Chubb was a pretty good player. They had talent. Like, they didn't, fall apart because they finished too well the previous year and didn't get a high enough draft pick. Baker Mayfield crapped out.
And the other thing, if you're 12 and 5, you're going to attract better free agents, right? I don't know. I just want to win football games.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it. But
Drake May's on our team. Hopefully, the future is now.
And I would just correct. Mike Vrabel said
Christian.
at his introductory press conference that he hopes to be in a position to take advantage of bad football.
Yep.
I don't think he said, I'm confident we can take advantage of bad football.
No, he said, I don't even know.
I think he said
if we
the
are.
opposite.
Right. I don't know,
is
what he said, if I recall.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, but I just did some of the predictions about off the schedule that they're going to win 12, 13 games. I just let's calm down a little bit. Can we at least see the team in training camp and see what it looks like?
But at the
before
same
we start
time,
saying
can
that?
I at least see what the other teams look like too?
Yeah, it just.
I have a lot of games in my head that I think are very winnable, and if Mike ends up being right and they're in a position to take advantage of bad football, I'm expecting them to beat the Carolinas, the New Orleans, the Tennessees. That's not taken into account whatsoever what those teams are going to be. And I used just the example. What if Tennessee, terrible team, number 1 overall pick, what if Cam Ward's really good?
Yeah.
What if he's, as Fred said, C.J. Stroud, and as I mentioned, Jaden Daniels? What if this is the 3rd year in a row that one of these top pick quarterbacks really hits the ground running? Like, you're going to look at that. What if Tennessee goes 12-5 this year? And then the Patriots lose to Tennessee. You're going to look at that as like a terrible loss?
I mean, I hope.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. In full disclosure, I think Tennessee's a long way away. But
yeah, I mean, I hope they win as many games as optimistic as some people seem to be. But I'm going to have to see it first. Like, it's been 3 years since they've won.
I don't know how you make that mental leap where you're just like, we're going to win 8 more games.
There's 5 or 6 games that I think are very winnable.
Yeah.
And my feeling is you're generally going to go 3-3 in those games. It's hard to win 10 games just and not win all of those games against the Carolinas, Tennessees, New Orleans.
I would just say that
those types.
On the positive side, there was always going to be an easy schedule on paper because of the opponents. Like it was an easier.
You were a 4-win team,
right?
Yep, playing a 4-win schedule. It was
always going to be an easier schedule regardless of the order of the games. But the based off the order of the games, like they do have a nice September. Like the September sets them up that they could get hot early. Like they could be a 3-1 team coming 3
home games.
They're not playing
first
Kansas
4.
City,
right?
Yeah.
I look at it as maybe they won't be 1-3 to start the year the way they've been. 4 years in a row, 5 years in a row, whatever it is.
God, really?
And if you get off to a good start, then you're rolling and you see what happens. But I'm not ready to predict double-digit wins. I mean,
how do you predict double-digit wins and not be disappointed by the season? Like, how is someone who's predicting 12 or 13 wins right now going to look at us when if they're like middling team and they're about round 500, and what's the explanation for that? You told us back, and are you not disappointed? Like, it gets so ahead of it that like I want to see them do it before I give them credit for doing it. Like, you can't just be like, it's great, it's going to be awesome. It just takes away some of the joy of the journey.
Kind of like the Red
for
Sox.
me, you know.
Red Sox made a lot of good moves in the offseason, and most of the moves they made have worked. Bregman's been great, Crochet's been great, and yet here we are, toward the end of May, and they're under 500.
Yeah.
All right.
You never know.
Going to take a break. Food's here. And when we come back, more calls and emails. We'll continue to talk about the schedule that came out last night here on Patriots Unfiltered.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PU Extras, where we read your leftover emails. Guys, if they don't get read on the show, send them to podcast@patriots.com, and we'll read them here. So, guys, what's up?
How we doing?
Let's get into it again.
Sure.
All right, here we go. Good day, PU crew. In last week's PU newsletter, Alex's question of the week was, will Eric find love? Eric has already found love. He's in love with himself. He might have also found love in or with Africa, but we won't know for sure until he writes his book. So I guess we'll never know. I see Nick Cassero getting some kudos for recent drafts by the Houston Texans. Has his time with the Texans made you reevaluate his time with the Patriots? Was Joe Cardona cut more because of the performance concerns or more out of desire by the new staff to clear the decks of anything that might have the players looking back to former glory years instead of focusing on the future? Cheers, Dan in Virginia, in Michigan. I think VA in Michigan. Alex, let's get to the newsletter.
I guess, okay, yeah, the newsletter thing. I wish I got to spend more time with Eric. Truly, you sat with him for a while.
I love Scal. He gives a bit of Brian Griffin sometimes from Family Guy.
Yep.
But no, he's the man. He's I think he's traveling now.
Hell yeah, good for him.
I'm pretty certain. I always joke about this with Deuce. I don't think he's watched a Patriots game since he left here. Did you overlap with him at all?
For like maybe a week and a half, if that. He was very nice to me. It was great, but like I don't blame him if he hasn't watched a game. Like I've been known.
He's been doing it for years.
I've been known to quit a job and never step foot in there again for years. Like when I quit Marshalls, which was my first job, I didn't shop again out of Marshalls.
TJ Maxx girl.
Until like I was 22.
Target and TJ Maxx ever since.
TJ Maxx.
All right, so to Nick Caserio, kudos for his recent drafts. Obviously, he was here, but he was working with Bill, who I think Bill had the override with a lot of stuff. But he made that crazy trade for Will Anderson with C.J. Stroud. He's done the big splash moves. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Caserio, obviously being kind of like the lead guy over there, helps him be a little more loose with how he wants to handle things. Yeah. And I think he's done a pretty good job over there at the Texans. I think the Texans are going to be a really good team the next few years.
I'm just wondering about their O-line, though.
Yeah, they're definitely skeptical there, but I have confidence in C.J. Stroud to be able to be a gamer. And I mean, I don't put him in the same field as Joe Burrow, but like Joe Burrow and his O-line hasn't been great for that long. And I mean, Joe Burrow can make things happen. Bengals can compete. So.
It's interesting because as a GM, you really make waves when you do the sexy trades and stuff, and that's what he's been doing. So didn't do a lot of that here, but he had some good years here.
Yeah.
So. All right, third part of this question, Joe Cardona. I think we've talked about this on PU before. I think it's kind of let's move on to the future. I'm not sure. Like, he's a long snapper. Like
I think it's a little bit of both.
Like he had some questionable snaps this year. I'm surprised it happened when it did. I thought he'd make it to training camp.
Me too. And I just think he was kind of. It's not like he was like a huge Mayo guy or a huge. Oh, he was kind of a big Bill guy, but I don't know. I thought he was good for like the culture, but I don't know.
But you're trying to establish it.
31.
That's like once you kind of make that change with DA, who's been like your staple guy and glue guy for years now.
Yeah.
Like once that switch happens, Cardona Bentley too. But once Cardona kind of as just a long snapper, it's hard to just like, you could just go a different direction at any point realistically at that position. So, I mean, I think it just kind of falls to like new time, a new day in New England. So
we'll see how Ashby does.
Yeah, Julian
passing the torch.
The new Julian in Foxborough. Julian Ashby.
All right, email from Bobby and Squantum. Just want to give a shout out to Paul for looking so slim these days, but somebody's got to give the guy a number for a good tailor. I saw him wearing a suit on All Access, and he looked like David Byrne.
His suits don't fit him anymore. He lost too much weight.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Maybe a little. Alex, you should take the PU crew shopping.
Okay, so you just took the words out of my mouth. I have a very close family friend who for years was like a really high-profile tailor down in Palm Beach on Worth Avenue. So those of you who are familiar with that, it's big money at a place called Trillium. And I'm just like picturing Paul in a place like that where everything is like custom made, imported cashmere from Europe. Like, can you imagine Paul going in there to get a custom suit?
You guys should do it before next year's draft.
As long as the place
send me to Palm Beach with Paul, and we'll play some golf. We'll get him a new suit. I think it'd be great content.
As long as there's Q-zips at that place too for Evan.
We'll get him a custom Q-zip.
It's custom everything.
Evan needs new Q-zips.
Yeah,
he needs to rotate his Q-zips a little.
Just a little.
Yeah.
All right. Subject. Do you read emails?
I thought that was the email.
No, subject. Do you read emails? That's what I'm doing right now. From Matt and Devin, UK. I love you guys, but do you ever read emails from anyone other than the same few people? I've emailed a lot and never get read. Here you go, Devin. Anyway, I know there will be some player comparisons going forward, such as Henderson and Luther Burden, Williams and Jalen Noel, etc. The one I'm more fascinated by is us and the Bears over the next few years. I love our free agency and draft, but I also love what the Bears have done in free agency and the draft. It'll be interesting to see how both teams compare with the young quarterbacks that we could have had, and that we could have had Ben Johnson, but chose Vrabel instead.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Dyke was not Fred's back of the envelope guy, but mine.
It's not DK.
DK. All right, Jesus might need to cut
Christ,
that.
you guys.
DK, who was that? Anyways, I emailed in not wanting him to, and Evan laughed at me and said that DK may not even get drafted. Evan, you and I will come back to the subject. Oh my God. If you're right, I'll buy you lunch if I'm right. I'll get a formal apology and a PU t-shirt. So let's get to the t-shirt. That's coming. Alex and I have been working on that.
Yes, we have. Tirelessly.
Tirelessly. It'll happen. It'll be there by 2026. But the Bears and Patriots, interesting because
I love that conversation.
Huh?
I love that conversation.
The Bears and Patriots comparison?
Big time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Williams.
They've upgraded different, or pretty much all the same positions, just different guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, honestly, just which guys are going to be the ones that are going to perform.
Yeah.
You know, like they won with the Dunze. They have upgraded their O-line,
Yeah,
their
but we beat
centers,
them.
their guards. Yes, we did. That's fair enough. They do have the upside there, but, you know, they have focused a lot on their offensive side of the ball, and I think the Pats a little bit more on the defensive side, but have upgraded their offense too. So, I mean, I'm excited to kind of see what happens.
We'll see when they play again.
Yeah.
The two revamped teams there.
One thing real quick on just how to get your emails read. Fred has touched on this a little bit on the show, but the subject of the email is important, but sometimes people bait him with like a really creative or like a clickbait headline, right? So he said that the first few lines of your email are really important because it shows up in the preview. So get creative there.
There we go. All right, Kamel from Georgia. One, talking about Adam Vinatieri had me thinking, how do you guys feel about Steven Gostkowski? I mean, he's a great kicker.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's your all-time points
you go from Vinatieri to Gostkowski.
We're so spoiled.
And honestly, the only complaint I have with Gostkowski is when they pushed the PATs back, he missed in the AFC Championship against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, he was
I can't
automatic.
think of another negative memory.
Yeah,
of him.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't like
between
People don't talk about him
Vinatieri,
enough.
Gostkowski, and
Nick Folk.
Nick Folk. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a power trio.
And now we
kinda
got
working their way out.
Yeah, but I think Gostkowski and Vinatieri were in a different
Oh yeah, no, different
class.
planet.
Oh, 100%.
For sure.
But
I'm not saying that. I'm
if you're
just saying
talking
the
consistency.
transition.
Yeah, for sure.
Kickers here in New England.
Yeah.
Talking consistency are good, but now we'll see what Borregales got.
Little
No
preview.
limited
I
Andy.
did my draft profile on him. Fired up.
Okay. All right.
For a kicker,
Beast.
fired up.
He only missed, I think, 8 total kicks. 12 total kicks, maybe.
Little game here. Good afternoon. Knowing how much Paul enjoys these games, don't worry, we enjoy them too. And Fred despises them and emails in general. I've made a way too early over-under game for the Patriots for the upcoming season. All right, first one, win 7.5.
Over.
I'm optimistically going over.
I'm going over.
Speak it into existence. Over.
Yeah, okay. May passing touchdowns, 30.5. 30.5.
Under.
I'm going
gonna
under.
go under on
I'm going to go under on that. May interceptions, 10.
Under.
He had 11 last year.
Under. He's gonna improve.
I'll say under. Actually, I'll say over, but I think some will be like the booty one in Arizona, where it's
I'm gonna say
tips
under.
off the hands.
Or it's not his fault.
No, I'm saying over.
I'll say over.
I'm settling on over.
But like 11, like
Yeah.
not by a lot.
So negative.
Diggs receiving yards, 800.
Over.
Over?
Yeah.
Over.
Patriots haven't
Bounce
had a
back here.
1,000-yard receiver in a very long time.
Yeah.
All right.
Over.
Over. I like that. Williams receiving yards. Over 400. Just let it go. Let it go.
I'm gonna say. I'll say over for that too. I know.
I'll be optimistic and say over.
I'm gonna say over for that. I don't think
Actually,
that's a crazy margin
There's
for
so
Kyle
much.
Williams to
There's
reach.
so much competition
Yeah.
at that position.
That's-
You gotta see how
1,300
things
yards
shake
receiving
out
last year in Washington.
All right.
in college.
Gonzo interceptions, 3. I'm going over.
I'm gonna push.
Over. Give it to me.
I'm gonna push.
All right.
I'm gonna say he gets 3 interceptions this year.
White sacks, 5.
Under.
I don't know. Under. Yeah.
Under?
Yeah, under.
All right. Game scoring 30 plus, 2.5. I'm going over.
I'm gonna go under.
Because when we took the wins, is over.
Yeah.
All right. I think. All right. Game scoring less than 20.
Defensive wins.
Game scoring less than 25.
What did you think? What,
Yeah,
you think over?
Under. Game scoring less than 25. 10.
Well, if I went under on the other one, I feel like
Yeah, I'm going under.
I have to go under again.
Okay. No, you have to go over.
27
Oh wait,
points
go
is-
over.
go over.
Sorry.
27 points is such a sweet spot.
Yeah.
25.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. 7 falls under 30 and above. I'm going to say over.
Okay. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Kyle from Pembroke. I liked that.
Thanks, Kyle. It was very fun.
I think Paul would have enjoyed it too, but we got to enjoy it. All right, last one. Evan Star Wars. George Lucas added episode numbers to the Star Wars films in 1981 when he realized he'd likely have the money to make an entire story he envisioned. I could be wrong, but I think that means the titles are older than Evan. Regardless, Evan's take about how some people say they're 1, 2, and 3 feels as hilarious as how he hates watermelon because it's wet and can't stand Pam Beasley because she wanted to paint Robin in Alaska.
I mean, I agree with the Pam take.
I don't know who Pam is.
She didn't have to leave from The Office, dude.
I don't like The Office.
You're fake.
It's overrated.
Whatever.
Okay.
I think that's a good take. I mean, yeah. Alex?
Star Wars girl?
I have nothing to say. I'm going to sit this one out.
I like Star Wars, but the people that say that, so he's saying Evan says it's 1, 2, 3?
I think so.
Like the first 3 are the first 3?
Yeah.
I disagree with that because the order of operations doesn't make sense.
No, Phantom Menace is the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're all clear.
Perfect.
Evan, bad take.
Thanks for clearing that up for me, guys.
Evan fraud. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to PU Extras. If your emails don't get read on Patriots Unfiltered, send them here, and we'll read them after.
And now, great moments in history.
Come on.
I don't think you ever listen to Felger? Felger still to this day.
Felger is not the end-all be-all of conversation. There's other people saying stuff, and a lot of people said it was all Brady.
There's only one
guy. And they said it while Brady was here with Bill.
Who said that?
Tons of people.
Who?
On this show. I mean, do I have to go back and emails?
I've never said that.
So
you better not be insinuating
no,
that
I think he means you're talking about emailers, callers?
Yeah, emails and callers.
There's only one guy whose voice matters in the town, and it's Michael.
Oh,
I mean, he's the only guy. He's the only guy who even moves the needle.
Holy mackerel!
Not me. He's the only guy that moves
hero worship.
It's not a hero worship. I think he's insane.
I didn't know you had such a love affair
I couldn't possibly disagree with him more. It's got nothing to do with hero worship.
So who cares what he says?
He thinks that they can win the division with Brian Hoyer. I couldn't possibly disagree with him more. It's nothing to do with hero worship. But don't tell me that Glenn Ordway has a pulse on anything that's going on.
No,
yes, Bill. Yes, Bill. What else do you want, Bill? Should our wives get together? Are we going to dinner this weekend? Oh, okay, Bill.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PASS-500 is the hotline. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. We had Jack Gibbons earlier. Like I said, every team should have a linebacker named Jack. Now we do, so that's good. Check that box. You like that, Evan?
See, they're not reruns if you've never heard them before.
That's right. I did that for Evan.
Evan gave you the pop that you wanted.
I did that for Evan. All right, let's get to some of these emails. Jake in Melbourne says maybe it's just different expectations or maybe not getting caught up in the current state of mind of some fans where teams with similar records as the Patriots last year are suddenly bookmarked as wins for this year. Feel like this year will or should be a year of exploration. Oh. I'm not sure about everyone else, but I have the vast majority of the roster where I don't know what they'll produce, good or bad. While excited and optimistic about the new regime, I feel like a lot of fans are seeing this upcoming season as a guaranteed major improvement on the last few seasons record-wise, but I think expectations should be tempered.
I agree with that email very much.
But is there a difference between expectations being tempered and enthusiasm shouldn't be tempered?
That's a good way to put it. That's where I'm at. Yeah,
so
I agree.
And I would also say, not to bog it into semantics like I often do, is, what would you consider great improvement? Because I am very confident that this team is going to be improved.
Yeah, me too.
I'm extremely confident of that. I don't know what that translates to number of wins. Evan and I were talking off air a little bit. If they were to win, say, 8 games, I think based on the tenor of some fans, I think there'd be some disappointment. I'd be out of my mind excited. Like, you doubled your win total in year 1? I think that would be cause for a lot of celebration.
They're going to win more than 4 games.
Yes,
but
that's how I feel.
How many? We'll see. But they're going to win more than 4 games, and I think 8 and 9, like, you just want it to be headed in the right direction. You want to see that arrow pointed upward and win some games that you wouldn't have won the last couple of years, maybe in styles that you wouldn't have won them in. Like, can you score into the 30s and win a game?
That's a good point, too. How the wins come about. That's a good point.
Like, going back to, obviously 21, 22, the 22 season, really, they were 8-9, weren't they? But that team wasn't good. Like, you could tell that team couldn't score. I mean,
they only had one way to win.
Right. But can this team win 35-31 against Miami? Like, can they
come from behind?
Right. Can they come from behind? Can Drake May orchestrate a fourth quarter comeback or a game-winning drive or two? Like, if they start doing those types of things, even if the win total isn't crazy, like, that's what you want to start to see.
Yep. I feel a little bit broken by the last couple years and just not trusting myself. I've seen
You're
some
like
stuff
a dog
on the
in a
field.
shelter.
I know.
You know,
but he kept getting brought back to the shelter.
Out of your cage and hand-fed.
Because I felt I'm an enthusiastic guy anyway. It's not a high bar, and I think all NFL fans at this time of year should have some enthusiasm for their team. But was I too enthusiastic about terrible teams the last couple years? Am I walking myself into the same kind of false belief? I really, 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 truly in my heart believe that this team is going to be better, that they will be a solid football team. I don't know exactly what it'll mean, but I'm still questioning myself based on the last couple years. And
listen, even if I didn't see them, I have to admit that last year the signs were there of maybe they're not.
Well, we brought back essentially the same team.
Maybe I was, refusing to see them.
No, and it's stupid Paul Perillo's voice coming through of Paul mentioned this. Damn it!
Yeah.
He's been right way too much since I started working here.
So someone who maybe did see some signs last year, fissures in the dam or whatever you want to call them. What do you think this year?
Well, I'm not talking about abstract things that I don't know. Like last year when everyone told me the offensive line coach was going to be great because he had a different system. I don't know any of that.
Right.
I can't control. I don't see
But just
behind
in
the
terms
scenes.
of
I'm just talking about the players.
Yeah.
Do I think it's better this year than last year? Yes. No. Because I think they went out, as Alex just said, and replaced guys on the roster with players that I think at least are better.
Yeah.
And this is why I never got on board with the over-the-top enthusiasm last year at this time. You ran it back. You brought in a rookie quarterback and otherwise ran it back.
Yeah.
And I was excited about the rookie quarterback, but I didn't think it was going to translate to a lot of success because generally it doesn't work like Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
Generally it works like Drake May last year. You have struggles even when the guy exhibits a level of competence. And I would say that's what Drake May did last year.
Yeah.
He looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But generally that doesn't translate to a dramatic spike in victories.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably more optimistic about bringing some of the guys they brought back, but as soon as we got into training camp, I mean, they couldn't block anybody. So the practices were pretty obvious right away that
Eagles practice.
This team is going to be...
The Eagles practice was ground zero for that. That was it for me.
Right.
I knew I was right when I saw that practice.
And then you
I was
also
like, they can't block.
And then you also just put it on top, some of the coaching stuff that was going on too, and it didn't look right.
Right. So I can sit there and I can convince myself that all of these coaches that are coming in are better than that. But I might go out at training camp and watch them have a joint practice against either Washington or Minnesota. Those are the first two preseason games, and say, you know what? This coaching staff looks a lot like last year's coaching staff. I don't know. I think it's better. I think Doug Marrone and Josh McDaniels will make the offense better. But you don't know until you see it.
Mm-hmm. Kyle and Pembroke, I have 3 hot takes and predictions in response to the schedule release that I want you guys to react to. I know it's too early for any of these, but why not? 1, the Patriots will be 4-0 in primetime games this year.
They only have 3. So.
Right.
So that's false.
2, Week 18 versus Miami will be a win and get-in game for both teams in regards to the wild card, making it a primetime game. Oh, he says a win and get in.
Oh, so
it won't be a win. It'll be a win and get in game.
So that's going to be flexed into, and that's where he's getting the 4th primetime game.
Gotcha. Okay.
I see. That's not far-fetched.
That's
not far-fetched.
Connecting dots.
That could happen.
Yeah. Okay. 3, this easy schedule, and he has easy in quotes, just so you know, will be harder than people think. The Panthers, Titans, and Giants all have the potential of being better this year and could be more difficult than expected. What do you think? I agree with that. Sure.
I would not pick those teams, but I think there's always a chance that teams are better than what you expect.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's a team that people just think is a layup, and I think if Kenny Pickett, as an example, just was, what do you and Alex call it? Net neutral.
Net neutral.
Yeah.
If Kenny Pickett was just net neutral,
so the Brock Purdy. Yeah.
I think that team could be decent, like a 7, 8, 9 win team as opposed to a 3 or 4 win team. And that could be a tougher game than you think. I'm kind of with Evan on the others. I don't really see it with Carolina or Tennessee. New Orleans, I think, is dreadfully bad.
They have 0 primetime games, so the league thinks they're dreadfully bad, too.
Kamel from Georgia writes in, one, what are your thoughts about people wanting an NFL draft lottery?
No.
Seen that a lot lately. That's your thing, right?
Well, my thing is, other than the first round, you keep it the same, but the first round is a complete lottery. All teams involved, 32 teams. This
was Fred's theory of how the Patriots could get the first overall pick after winning all those Super Bowls.
And then the rest of the rounds go back to record.
So, the reason why people are pushing for this is because of the television stuff. Like, the NBA draft lottery does decent numbers, so an NFL draft lottery
Even the NHL lottery got a little traction, not like the NBA.
It will do huge numbers. So, like, people like Adam Schefter going on ESPN and vouching for an NFL draft lottery, he's looking at his wallet and saying this would be a great television event for us to do this. The NFL doesn't need a lottery. Like, the NFL doesn't have a tanking issue. Yeah. There's just teams that aren't very good. That doesn't mean they're tanking. Like, the Patriots last year had all the reason in the world to tank in the last week of the season, and they won the damn game. So, like, how is that? That's not tanking.
They don't play enough games to really tank.
Right. Like, the NBA has a tanking problem. They have teams like Utah who have, for 3 years now, have purposely tried to lose games. Like, that's...
But what about the purgatory issue? Like, if you are a middling team year after year, it's easy to stay middling because you never really get a shot at that great player.
I don't think it's an
That's
issue.
what happened this year. I mean, Dallas is going to get Cooper Flagg after trading Luka.
Well, but and they had a 1.8% chance.
Yeah, they had the 11th best chance to get the first.
No, I don't think purgatory is a problem in the NFL. Okay. It can be a problem in the
NBA,
winter
I
leagues.
think it is.
Yes,
I think tanking is a problem in the NBA, which is what the lottery
tanking
is for.
And purgatory
but
is
like
an issue.
the thing with the tanking is like if you're Utah, how else are you going to get better besides getting a top draft pick? You're not drawing any free agents. You're not pulling off any trades. Like, so the only way that a team like Utah gets better is by getting Cooper Flagg. Like, that's the only way they can do it. That's not the case in the NFL. Like, the NFL, you can build a roster in different ways in the NFL than you can in the NBA. And I don't think it's a big issue.
I agree. I don't think purgatory is a problem. I think there's a lot of middling teams that have plenty of ways to get talent. Like everybody can get free agents and everybody can draft good players in the first round. In the NBA, there's like 3 good players.
So the idea of
that get drafted in a good year.
Aside from the quarterback in position in football, like basketball is so different where one player really can change the entire dynamic of a team. Football, there's just so many moving parts. That's why I prefaced it with.
I like it, Fred. I maybe on the opposite side. I'm with you. I agree with everything Evan's saying. I just think it takes that whole element out of it. And how many teams are always picking in the top 10? Like, they're always up there. So,
and I'm sick of these teams that are always picking in the top 10 and then they don't get better.
Yeah. But they're only going to be. They're not going to do all 32 teams.
No, I don't think they're going to do all 32.
Because they're going to be the non-playoff teams.
No one does
like
that.
It's in every other league.
Just because no one does it doesn't.
What NBA does top 10?
No,
the teams that don't make the playoffs.
Just teams that
so
don't make
the NHL, I believe, is not everybody that doesn't make the playoffs.
I'd be on board with that. I don't know if I could get on board with the all 32.
I don't hate the idea of a lottery. I wouldn't say no, but I agree with Evan. If they do it, it's only because of TV and money. It's not to solve a problem.
The
it's
NBA
because
did
they want
to
more
solve
money.
A problem.
Right. Oh, and that's what it's all about.
And I would argue that it hasn't really worked, to be honest. But I do agree with you. It was all about. I think there was a year that Houston. I think there was like a tanking to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, teams do. I mean, Dallas kind of did it.
It's really bad.
Like Dallas, probably could have pushed at the end of the season to be in the play-in, and they purposely didn't.
Didn't they weren't in the play-in?
No, I mean, no, I don't think so.
Well, they had.
I thought they were 10.
They might have been, but they got into this position on purpose. Like they traded Luka, but they got into the position that they're in.
Kyrie got hurt after that trade too,
and they pulled the plug on the season to get into the lottery. And they got lucky. The ping pong balls fell their way.
Ultimately lucky. 2, does Cam Williams going to the Broncos mean anything for the Patriots?
They're going to have to hire a new guy.
But I think that's a loss. I think that he's a guy that was well thought of, and I think he did a good job. I think people considered him very competent at his job.
He got a promotion.
Now, we liked him, obviously, because we had him on the the draft shows. We had some good interaction with him, but I think he's well regarded.
And I think everybody was looking like, where am I going to be in 2-3 years? And I think here, now that Vrabel in, but Elliott's not going anywhere. He brought Vrabel brought with him.
Cowden,
you know, so.
Plus, it's a promotion for him. Like he's
So he wants to rise up there.
They had two guys just leave.
Yeah.
Higher ups under, is it Patton or Peyton? How do you pronounce it?
Patton.
George Patton.
Yeah, but no disrespect to Cam Williams, who I liked and got to know a little bit as a great guy. I mean, he was not making any real decisions here.
No.
Right? You know, I guess there wasn't some...
That's what I'm saying. It's a promotion for him because he's going to be in a decision... he's going to have input more, I think, with Denver than he did here.
I just remember talking to, Elliott at the Combine, and, like, when they had, like, a Will Campbell, Travis Hunter level prospect, Matt Groh was the one that was actually writing the scouting reports for those players for the Patriots, not Cam. So, like, those types of high-level decisions were out of his hands.
And finally, with the schedule coming out, what games times do you like more? The 1, 4:25, or prime time?
1 o'clock.
I think we're all team 1 o'clock. One.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the schedule. Is all these 1 o'clock games.
Yeah.
Last year was kind of nice.
Sam in St. Catharines, am I crazy for thinking that we could upset the Ravens? Maybe I'm remembering things incorrectly, but I believe Vrabel's Titans were a constant pain in the behind for the Ravens, and no one knows Derrick Henry's strengths and weaknesses better than him. I'm sure we'll have some surprises, losses too, and ultimately I think we'll be somewhere in the hunt, whether that's wild card or just missing the cut.
Okay. So they beat them in the playoffs, right?
When they went to the AFC Championship game.
Lamar's rookie year, right?
Not his rookie year, but the
his
first year that he
starter.
was the MVP. His first MVP
after
year,
they beat the Patriots?
Titans beat them after they beat the Patriots.
I thought it was that rookie season, but maybe that was the Chargers that beat him. Yeah, that was the Chargers.
Beat him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, again, an AFC Championship caliber roster gave Lamar Jackson trouble. Not a 4-13 team. But, yeah, I mean, again, I don't tell you that upsets don't happen. Last year, I believe the Ravens lost like 4 or 5 games. They lost to the Raiders. Mm-hmm. They lost to someone else that was really bad, and I can't remember now.
You can't remember?
But good teams lose to bad teams. Cincinnati lost to the Patriots last year. Ultimately knocked them out of the playoffs. They would have been in the playoffs with 10 wins had they won that opening game. So upsets happen. Yeah.
855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Let's go to Randy in Providence. What's up, Randy?
Hey, guys. How's it going today?
Good.
Hey, Randy.
So I'm one of the more optimistic guys, I guess, about the Patriots there. I think 8 to 10 wins is perfectly reasonable to go for anyway.
I agree.
Maybe not expect. But I do think, like, two of the big takeaways that I had from the schedule coming out last night is that game one is the Raiders, right? They're coming here, and we expect that offense to kind of be built around the rush a lot, and particularly around a rookie running back who I looked up in his game log. He's only played once in the Eastern time zone. That was last year. It was a 4 p.m.
body
game.
Clock game, baby.
Can we please retire that?
No.
No.
Well, that's,
okay.
That's a thing, Paul.
Evan's face is so
It's not
serious.
a thing.
Sharp's
What's
no.
not a thing?
10 a.m. body clock.
The
thing's
whole
a
West
thing.
Coast
I'm with
team
you,
coming
Randy.
east is not a thing anymore.
It's a thing.
Like Seattle last year in week
Randy,
2.
you stick to your take.
I think
I've heard this
speaking,
take about
maybe-
12
well,
times
I think
today. I'm
generally
done with
speaking,
this
maybe
take.
you
Wanna
might
know,
be,
baby.
But I think a rookie running back making his first trip to the East Coast for
Like,
an early
he's
game,
not going
it
to
just
Mars.
might be a little thrown off. But then the second game that I took a look at and I liked was that Cincinnati Bengals game. I think that's a game that they could potentially steal.
Win.
And I think that's because they're coming off 10 days rest.
I think I heard this
And-
guy this morning.
Fingers crossed, a Jets home win. But the Bengals have
that's
the
why I'm
Steelers before
annoyed.
us and the Ravens 4 days after us. And I think they could be looking through us.
Okay. Could be.
So if all the
Possible.
other teams stink and roll over, the Patriots will have a great year. Print that on a slogan.
Randy, I like it.
Let's go with it.
I'm with you. 8 to 10 is completely reasonable.
I don't know if you know, but Ashton Genty will not know how to run.
I know, but that's
in the Eastern Time Zone.
I mean, it's a 10 a.m. body clock game, Paul. It matters.
Correct. He's never been in the East Coast, so he's going to be like.
That's not what I'm saying.
This turf is not like the turf that
I hope they
the turf
don't.
I'm used to is blue.
I hope they
Imagine
come
he's
out
got to
here
adjust
late,
to green turf.
And then I hope that they pull the fire alarm at the hotel at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Come on now.
Don't say that, because then it's going to happen.
No, we're going to win
legit
legit this year.
Right.
No,
Come on.
no, you take out all the things you need.
Yeah, and
You
if
pull
you
that
were,
fire alarm,
if you
baby.
were playing at Mars, Paul, you would want Ashton Genty.
Cleveland.
Bigger.
Baltimore also lost to
More
Cleveland
gravity.
last year.
Hey,
So that's a
Cincinnati
division
lost to
game.
the Patriots.
That's
Right.
a division game.
They're going to lose again this year because
That's right.
they're going to be looking ahead to their next game.
That's right.
Right.
I got a question though, Paul. Is there a difference between like an upset and a game and a win that actually means something? Like sometimes you're like you catch a team at the right time.
No, I think
and it doesn't prove anything.
I think that can be the same thing.
You know what I mean?
Like last year,
like
they
you beat
upset
the Bengals,
Buffalo, but that's not really
right.
like,
Well, and that
meaning
was
anything.
situational, right? Like,
But Cincinnati, they upset Cincinnati. Why didn't that mean anything?
because well, for them,
We thought it
ultimately,
meant something.
ultimately they weren't a team that could beat. They weren't a team on that level of Cincinnati. They were a tier even
as
below
it turns
them.
out,
No, but-
Cincinnati
you
wasn't
know.
that great.
But an
Yeah.
upset,
That's true.
but an upset is an upset. That means
Yeah.
the better team, talent-wise, lost to the inferior team. Whether that means that the inferior team is better than we thought, it still meant something. They still beat a team that was better than them.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But, like-
fair enough.
No, but I hear what you're saying too, Mike. Like in hindsight, you look back and go, you know, at the time we thought it was a big upset, but
But it really
that team
wasn't.
wasn't that good.
Or
Yeah.
you were a lot better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
You know,
I think
whatever
Cincinnati
reason-
was markedly better than the Patriots
Of course.
last year.
Right.
That was,
Even as it
that was
turned
as
out.
big an
Oh, yeah.
upset as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why when like people look at like Baltimore and like we could upset them. Well, yeah, like you're saying that
Lamar
maybe
Jackson
Lamar has
gets
a
hurt.
terrible game and it's in the wind, or there's a monsoon, or the Patriots are just a better football team than the Ravens.
Right.
Like there's a big difference between that at
Right.
that point.
No,
in the
I got
season.
your question.
And I think a lot
Yep.
of times when people call in and say it, they're saying more like they're going to be the better team than the Ravens that night, rather than I think everything's going to line up for them in Week 17 and they're going to be able to beat the Ravens.
So in
for a weird
01 when
reason.
the
I think
Yeah.
upsets happen. I think sometimes the better team doesn't win the game.
Yeah.
Now, does it always mean something in the long term? No.
Yeah.
To answer your
Right.
question, sometimes it does.
It-
But like Fred said, what if the Patriots are like 10-4 going into that game? I still would think Baltimore's better than them, and they could upset them, and it would mean plenty. It would mean that you're really good too.
In 01, when the Patriots were 14-point underdogs to the Rams, huge upset.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, were the Patriots were they underrated?
I think maybe a
That's
little.
the day we knew it was real.
You know, were they better than people were giving them credit for?
Yeah.
Should it have been 14?
Yeah.
Should it have been more like 6? Or
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a
Maybe.
bad question, but like, to have the Patriots had a meaningful win over the last 2 years, like legitimately meaningful.
I think the game that they beat Buffalo here
Meaningful
in
win.
2023.
I don't know. I know.
I think there can't be any meaningful wins unless you end up in the playoffs.
right?
See, I'm with
At the
go ahead.
time,
Yeah.
that game I
with
thought
Evan.
felt like a meaningful game. They hadn't beaten Josh Allen to really solve that problem.
They beat a good team.
They beat a good team. It was a come from behind, like fourth quarter
Like
game-winning
it wasn't
drive
because
game.
you couldn't throw the ball because of the weather.
Right.
It wasn't
third
because
stringers.
Ramondre got
Now,
one
granted,
big
it
play
was
at the
like
end.
one screen that he took like 40 yards.
So
on
what
the
did it
first play of
mean?
the drive.
But what-
But that's semantics.
if you say a game it was
there
a
is no
meaning
penalty on the play for the legal man downfield.
No, I mean, like, just throwing that out.
But if you
really
say
good throw on
if
third
you say
down
a
by
game
Mac
has a
Jones.
meaning, if it was a meaningful win,
Pop.
what is the meaning?
Yeah.
What?
It's so
It turned out not to be anything, but in the moment,
Then it wasn't meaningful.
Well, in
Well, see, I
hindsight, it
disagree.
wasn't. But in the moment, it felt like that was the one thing they hadn't
Well,
done
every
yet.
win is great in the moment, but like
No, the
I think
Cincinnati win
ultimately
was
but you
not
have,
great.
you
in the
have to
moment.
take the question in the spirit that means it.
That the game last year against Cincinnati was not great in the moment. Even Gerard knew that
It wasn't great in the moment.
I agree with
Are you
Evan.
kidding me?
It was such fool's gold. Mike and I
Are
were
you
like,
in that locker room?
Yeah, it felt like they won the Super Bowl and they won the
so
one
then
game.
For them,
Like,
it was great in the moment.
Okay, but even the coach that
but the way they played was so obviously not sustainable.
But it was the way they had to play to win, and they did it.
But it
It was week
required the
1,
other
2.
team pooping all over itself.
Okay, they took advantage of bad football.
Ish.
when
Like, that
Gerard
was a
came
bad-
out the
like,
next day
that
and
was a
even
bad
said
game.
himself that game was
Of course,
Fugazi.
I would say that the Buffalo game from 2 years ago that Evan's talking about was a lot more
Sure.
It wasn't just because Buffalo didn't bring it that day. The Patriots played well.
They did.
And they stuck around, and they hung around, and they stole it at the end.
But it wasn't the game from which the Patriots then got better.
No, but that,
it was the Cincinnati game.
Right. So at the end of the day, but there were two things. He was talking about in the moment it was a great win. It didn't turn out to be a meaningful win. Both can be true.
Can you give me an example of a meaningful win?
I have one.
Okay.
The Colts game in 01 beating.
Such a PU argument.
No, the season finale last year. It was a meaningful win because it knocked us out of the draft. I mean, it's a negative way, but it was meaningful, right?
That's a semantic argument that I'd be proud of, but I like it.
That's true.
But can you honestly, because I think Fred, the only way you can have a meaningful win is if it ends up in a Super Bowl winning season or like a
when they beat
Cincinnati
Cincinnati last year, week 1. It was a nice win for Gerard and for the regime and all that kind of stuff to get to win week 1. But everybody came out of that game and said they're never winning a football game like that ever again. Even the coach said it, that they weren't going to win it. When they beat Buffalo a couple years ago, the conversation around that game was it could go one of two ways. This could either be a jumping off point or this was, a blip. It was
right. And if it was a jumping off, then it would have become a meaningful game. But it wasn't. It wasn't a meaningful game. But at the same time, in the moment, it was a great win.
I think you can win games that don't ultimately lead to tremendous success that are meaningful.
Sure.
I can't even think of one off the top of my head now. But I think
the last 2 years it's hard. You have eight choices.
Because I don't think they've had any meaningful win. I think the closest to a meaningful win is that Buffalo game that Evan brought up.
It has to mean something.
Right.
But that meant something. That was a good win.
But a meaningful game in 2023 would have been faith restored in Belichick and the system, and that the guys are on board because it felt like that was still something.
They had a lot of meaningful losses.
That was not.
It's hard to find it last year. I mean, and I think you're right to point to that Cincy win. It was just proof that they could win a game regardless of how it looked. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't meaningful.
It wasn't.
So I think it goes back to what Fred said. Like,
just a rah-rah game.
I'm just happy I've gotten us onto a weird PU semantics.
No, I like it.
Yeah,
but I like sort of looking at things from different levels.
Yeah.
And
but that's why the root of it though is when people call in and they say like I think the Patriots could beat the Ravens. Like of course they could win any single one of these games.
If anybody tells you they can't, then they're lying. They haven't watched the NFL.
Here's a meaningful win. Right after the Patriots aren't good anymore, they came and they beat the Bengals. That was a meaningful win.
But that was only because they went on to win the Super Bowl. Well, according to you,
yeah, it meant that they aren't done yet anymore.
To me, you get backed into I think the Celtics winning last night was a meaningful win, even if they lose tomorrow night.
Okay.
Because I think that they sort of had two choices. You can tuck tail and go home and feel sorry for yourself, or you can stand up and be a championship caliber team and do what you're supposed to do to an inferior opponent at home and win.
All right.
I think there's meaning in that, whether it leads to a comeback from 3-1
I happen to
not.
agree with you.
Like, I don't think what happens after a game should impact whether or not you think it is meaningful.
For Celtics fans, and I needed that game, Paulie. I needed it.
So it's meaningful.
It's meaningful.
I was sitting there like first quarter, second quarter.
For me,
I couldn't get myself too excited.
If they lose tomorrow night, I'll feel better than I would have if they lost last night.
Sure.
And I know that sounds silly. It's the same thing.
At least they rose up.
I'll
feel better.
Yeah. No, I
better
agree with
about
that.
it.
That had meaning. It had meaning.
I'll continue to cross sports.
Definitely had
Mike, you'll remember this. Probably no one else will because no one else cares. The very beginning of the sort of rebirth of the Bruins, like 08-ish, they had a 7-game first-round series with Montreal. They won a game at home in Game 6, and then they ended up losing in Game 7. I think that was sort of the rebirth of Bruins hockey.
Yeah.
That game had, I think, a lot of meaning. Even though they lost the next game, were out of the playoffs, and then it took them, 3 or 4 more years to get the cup.
Yeah.
But I want to say 08, 07, 08, maybe.
I was a little bit
that
disengaged
area.
from the Bruins at that time.
It was like early Chara, Bergeron,
Yeah.
that kind of crew.
Yeah, I was.
I remember the
How close are we to the
Marco
moral
Sturm.
victory conversation right now? Like we're. Like they feel like the Venn diagram of like moral victories.
Moral victories.
Moral victories when you lose.
Yeah,
though.
right.
That's a
Moral
loss.
victory is a loss.
The only moral victory that I'm willing to even contemplate, Fred will know this, is when they lost to the Rams in the 2001 season.
Showed they could compete
in the regular
right.
season.
Yeah.
I think they learned a lot about themselves.
Well, I'll throw one game out there. Would you say when the Patriots, Tom Brady went down in Week 1 of 2008, and then they beat the Jets the next week? That was a comp I used for last night's Celtics
I would call
game.
that a meaningful win in a game that they
win?
didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
In a series, a season they didn't make the playoffs. But I do think that was a meaningful
And
win.
what
It
was
showed
the meaning?
everybody It showed everybody we're not
The Jets
just
still
about
stink.
Tom Brady. We still own the Jets. We can win games.
It's a really
But
good
we can't make
comp,
the playoffs.
honestly.
Go ahead.
Because that's just like sort of how I feel right now about the Celtics is like if they keep this team together, just minus Jason Tatum, like they won't stink. Like they're not they're not the favorites to win the title anymore, but like they'll have a season next year. Whereas
See, Mike-
like Tuesday, I was like, the world is ending and I'm going to jump off a bridge. Like
Welcome
now
back.
I feel
Welcome
like
Good
back.
they
facilitation,
could actually
Mike.
maybe win 50 games next year with
We
this
pulled
team.
him off the ledge.
Right.
This is the
So
most
it's the same
aligned I've
thing.
ever been with Evan in a show.
Yeah, I did it.
Probably.
Buffalo 2 years ago, Celtics talks were like aligned completely.
All right.
Boston Cream's on the hotline. What's up, Boston
It's like
Cream?
Iran, Iraq coming together.
Boston Cream.
Hey, what's up, players? I got a quick game. It's called Two or None.
Oh.
For the 2025 season.
Two or none.
So you have to pick either two or none. 700-yard receivers.
2.
600-yard rushers.
1.
0. It's 2 or none, guys. Come on.
It's called 2 or
Read
0.
the rules.
It's called 2 or 0.
The rules down.
2 or 0. Oh,
No,
okay.
oh.
That makes it tougher.
Oh.
2.
Yeah, I got to say
7
2.
sack guys.
Oh.
2.
Yeah.
I'm going to go none on that one.
4 interception guys.
I'm going to go none on that one, too.
None. Yeah.
Wow.
2.
No faith in Carlton Davis.
Vidarian Lowe starts.
Oh.
Vidarian Lowe
2.
starts?
No disrespect,
None.
but hopefully 0.
None.
I'm going to say none.
Overtime games.
2.
None.
None.
Wins against 2024 playoff teams. They play 5 games.
2.
So that would be
Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and
Tampa.
Tampa Bay.
2.
none.
Eric Scalabino girlfriend.
None.
7.
All right, guys. Go Oilers.
All right. Thanks, Boston Cream.
Scal still catching strays.
Not Barth. Scal. I'm still going Scal. Still
Is
trying
Bart on the market? Does he care?
We're working on it.
So
We're working on it.
You know,
well, like some people just don't care. Like
He's
I'm,
married
you know,
to the game.
Whatever.
We should do a dating show for him.
Yeah. Bum, bum, bum,
I don't know about that, but
that could be the schedule release.
it's a good thought.
I'm curious,
If you're
you
an
guys.
eligible bachelorette interested in Alex Barth, right into the show.
It's a long list, right?
There's got to be a girl who loves
I'm
college
kind of
football.
liking this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Fixing
Could be
up
fun.
Alex. Can we fix up Alex?
I've been trying for
Even
5
if he
years
doesn't
to
know
fix
about
up
it.
Alex.
But you don't have the tools. Our Alex probably
might.
has more.
That's fair.
There's
Don't ask
nothing
a fish how to
savvy.
catch a fish.
I don't want to
That's
speak for
probably
Alex. I'll only speak for my wife. But there's nothing girls like better than setting people up. Like they just like they got a friend. Oh my God, I know just the girl.
Why do you
like
gotta hate?
you. They love it. They love it. And I'm like,
It's the
Lane,
basis
why are
of
you
my
inserting
entire
yourself?
marriage over there, hi-ho.
Oh, did you get really?
Yeah.
You got a setup.
You got
Well, sometimes it works
set
for
you
sure,
up?
but they love
My
it.
sister.
A lot of tries. A lot of tries.
I know it's hard to imagine that this was off the market for long.
Well,
I know.
I saw your prom photo.
Not for
so.
long. That light blue suit. Powder blue? Was that powder blue?
Oh
Was
my-
that your like junior prom or something?
Oh, I didn't have it.
I've
I didn't
lost
wear
track.
I
I've
didn't
lost
wear
track
a
of
powder
my-
blue suit to my
Did you have a
prom.
light blue one
no.
at some point?
Miami Vice, all white,
Oh,
bro.
right, all
White.
right. All right.
Bruh. That was my senior prom. I wore the regular black.
Did you have the hat? Did
I
you
had
get
the
the hat
regular
on
black dynasty to
How
my
many
junior prom.
proms
Did you
they
get the
used to
hat with
have,
the
like,
cane too?
No hat, no cane.
One prom.
You only had one prom.
We have one prom.
You have no junior prom?
It's a
Cruising into
it's
the-
a harbor cruise.
Everett High School.
Pimp Perillo.
Junior harbor cruise.
Pimping ain't easy.
It was
I had
Pimp
two
of the
proms.
Year. Pimp of the Year, Paul Perillo.
Every-
All right, Michael writes in, forgive me, Father Fred, for I have sinned. But Evan is a hypocrite.
Uh-oh.
The second Paul and Deuce start talking about Jaws, or you talk about Speed Queen, Evan chimes in, can we get back to football? But if the Celtics come up, he's more than happy to spend an hour on not football. You may want to consider a Celtics jar, where Evan will have to put $1 in each time he talks about Celtics on a football show. Or maybe you deduct a minute each time from his all-22 allowance. Just an idea.
Oh, well, I think an hour is a little bit of an exaggeration. Maybe like, 5 to 10 minutes a show. I don't
think
know
that's
if that's
reasonable.
necessarily
I
an
think that's
hour.
reasonable.
Yeah, but you would continue to talk if we, right?
I mean, I'm sorry, but on May 15th, I think doing more on the Celtics is far more interesting than
if this was January, you'd do it. Speaking of hypocrites,
No,
do you
I would
think
not.
Bill is on a path of tarnishing his Patriots legacy where, while he'll get in, he won't have the same pomp and circumstance as Brady?
I don't think he was ever going to have the same pomp and circumstance as Brady.
I don't think he'd want it.
But yes, the short answer to that question, I would say yes. He's, I think, really sort of walking that line of tarnishing his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of callers or emailers say, how come you guys don't talk about what's going on with him? Like,
what's there to talk
look,
about?
at the end of the day, you know who loses out on all this? We do. Like, why can't we have anything nice? You know? Like,
Also, how aren't people just sick of that by now?
I just don't know
I'm
what
so
it matters.
sick of it.
Yeah.
Like, to the Patriots, and like, he's doing this on somebody else's dime. Like, this has nothing to do with the Patriots. Like, the Falcons like put it in like their schedule release video as like a jab at the Patriots. That
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I just didn't get that. I was like, he's employed by North Carolina football. He hasn't been the Patriots coach in 3 years. Like, I don't really
Fred,
know.
I think I might owe you an apology.
Why?
You know how you have all of these feuds with
Yeah.
all the teams?
Yeah.
Is this where they like sort of originate? Is these schedule videos, and that's why I don't ever know what
There's
you're
little
talking
jabs
about?
coming
no.
No.
He explained his gripes.
So is it just because there's like I would have never known that the Falcons took a shot at Belichick in the Patriots in that video?
Yeah, I don't care what people say in the schedule releases.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I don't care. I just want the joke to be funny. Like, that has nothing. Like, Jordan Hudson has nothing to do with the New England Patriots. Like,
She's been rattling the
did
cage
one-
on the
at one time.
Falcons. Yeah, she's been rattling the Falcons' cage with some.
Has she really?
She did personally troll them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that might be what it's about more than anything.
Of
But
course. They've taken plenty of shots at the Falcons. You know, turnabout is fair play.
Yeah.
David in D.C. writes in,
I don't think it's funny.
I have learned
Nothing
so
to do
much
with
from
us.
you all this offseason. One, Fred goes over the top rather than through the door.
What is this?
I don't know.
No, don't you go through the door. I go over the top.
Yeah.
From the outside. Okay.
2, Paul has a hot sister. 3, Mike likes the Celtics
Really
as
makes
much
me
as he likes
uncomfortable.
Tom Brady. That's not much. 4, Alex likes dudes in backwards caps. Evan, he still thinks he knows everything about football and
Also
probably
facts.
does, but very little about anything else. 6, I miss Andy's advice about swamp ass. 7, it took a year, but the silos finally came down and there appears to be some collaboration. What does that mean?
It's,
Football.
Football? Okay. And 8, the Pope has a degree in mathematics. He not only knows sin, he knows cosine or cosine. What does that mean?
That's a math term.
Is he like
Cosine. It's like
Yeah.
trigonometry and stuff.
cosine
Yeah.
Okay.
Vectors.
No,
I-
time
that,
since
that,
Fred
that,
took
It's a vector,
trig.
Victor.
that wasn't funny.
Wow.
Especially the part about me. How dare you? I love Tom Brady.
All this West Coast, East Coast, Paul. Spee in Fresno says, Paul doesn't seem to understand that the grass grows in reverse on the East Coast.
Yes.
This creates an inseparable obstacle, insuperable. I don't know if that's
Well,
the right
he
use
did
of
play
the word.
on bluegrass.
To West Coast
That's what I
running
said.
backs.
That's a big transition. He's going to have to learn how to play on green.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, though, he used to wear the blue jersey on the blue grass, and it was hard to see him. So
Yeah.
maybe now it'll be easier to see him, and
Facts.
it'll be easier to tackle him.
So we got
You didn't think of that.
We got a hybrid here. It's a California sense of Mia. The great thing about
Eastern
that.
Washington did the same thing.
You can,
Red on
you
red.
can smoke it, right?
Yeah, right.
And what happens?
Just don't the bejesus
You
off.
get the bejesus out of you.
Jared in Newburyport, no one cares about PU degenerate callers and their poopy ass phone lines. Never mind what they look like. Oh, I heard you guys are going to resurrect this idea now.
Yeah, I was waiting for like a lull. We had the draft, we had the schedule, so
Yeah.
it's gonna come soon.
So I got.
But
are you
this-
getting the emails that have coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
Okay.
you're not
Good.
looking at 'em.
Unless
Okay.
you've gotten any recent that you haven't sent
Well,
to
so
me.
I noticed some came in after the last show.
Oh,
yeah,
we did
we put out a little call for
little
him.
call to
too.
action.
Yeah, we
So
put
did you get
together a little
those?
thing.
No.
Yeah.
So how were
Yeah.
you going to get those?
We're gonna
I was
get
going to
'em.
ask you if
Usually
you got
you
any.
forward
Why are
them
these
to me
highlighted?
I don't know.
unprompted.
You don't know.
I vote for a conversation between Dan Shaughnessy, played by Fred, Pete Carroll, played by Paul, and Jackie Mason, played by Fred again, regarding which current NFL players could excel in the NBA.
None.
Okay.
But they all think they could. They all think they could.
The answer is 0.
Let's see. Castillo writes in, longtime listener, first-time emailer. It's Edwin in Texas. Oh, hey, Edwin. How you doing? Just wanted to say hello and thank everyone for the great work you guys put in. But the call from Christian in L.A., oh, my God, I really can't believe fans want to lose for draft positions. We are 0-0, geezer. Man, I hate to lose. Please be more positive. We're going to become the Jets at this rate we're going through right now. I think Christian was trolling us. I actually do.
No, I think he's embracing his
No, I think he was just doing it to get everyone going.
I think there's genuinely people that believe, like, there's no point in being, like, the third wild card, like being the 7 seed and losing in the first round in the playoffs when you could be picking in the top 10 and get the draft pick.
I would say I would not want to be in that spot like 3-4 years in a row, the way Pittsburgh is right now. They're kind of on that treadmill, and I don't like that treadmill. But if you're asking me right now, would I rather be 4-13 or the 7th seed in the playoffs? Like, I don't understand how that's even a thought.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like Christian was implying like he's trying to get back to dynasty status. Like he's trying to get a dynasty in place instead of like you're back in the wilderness with the rest of the NFL just trying to find a championship.
I'm okay with that sort of grandiose thought. Like that's what I want. I want to get back to dynasty. But why do you have to go from bottom to dynasty without any steps along the way? Why can't you go 7-10, 8-9, then go say 10-7 or 11-6, and then be the dynasty caliber team?
Well,
why is the only way to make that progression picking in the top 5? Right. Why is that the only way to do it?
Well, like look at Detroit. Like they're not a dynasty, but like Detroit had that one season in between where they went like 3-13-1 in Dan Campbell's first year. Then they won like one game out of the playoffs his second year.
But 9-8,
right? And then the third year they were the best team in the NFC during the regular season, right? Like that happens where like you go 8-9, the next year you're 12-13 wins.
James in Atlanta by way of Maine. I would venture to say that if the Patriots are 12-5, the draft class has become a nucleus that is probably set up for future success.
That's also a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Like, why are you 12-5?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably because you got some good players in your team now. Okay.
I think his premise was they got some wins that didn't necessarily mean they were that good. Their record was better than the team because of the schedule, I think was his point. But I think you could go, 9-8, 10-7, and maybe not be quite as good as the record because of the schedule. You win 12 or 13 games the way people are talking, you're probably pretty good. That's a lot of wins. Don't you think?
I mean, it's 12, a little too many for me, but
I don't think like anybody's saying that about Washington. I keep going back to them. Like no one's saying like, oh, it was a cupcake schedule.
And there's a chance that's true.
100%.
I don't know.
They could have a second year.
I don't know that schedule. I think that's often a thing where you sort of take 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
I mean, Houston kind of did. Like Houston still made the playoffs.
They did, but they did. They absolutely were not as cohesive on the field in year 2 of the Stroud era.
Let's see. Eric in Maryland. I'm usually amazed at the way Paul can pull facts and figures out of the air concerning Patriots games from the past, and I doubt I could stump he who knows all. But with the schedule coming out, I decided to take a shot. Just this morning, I got my tickets to see the Patriots take on the Ravens on my birthday in December. I've chalked this game up as a win, knock on wood, since the Patriots have won every game I've ever attended. Granted, I've only been to 5 games, but still I take full credit for those wins as my aura spurs the Patriots to victory. My test for Paul is who were the opposing quarterbacks in those 5 wins. So the first one was the Bengals in 2024.
Joe Burrow.
So that was last year?
Yep.
Joe Burrow and Jacoby Brissett.
Who's the opposing quarterback? Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
2, the Steelers in 23.
Kenny Pickett, wasn't it?
No, it was Trubisky.
Correct. 3, the Steelers in 22.
Oh.
That was Kenny Pickett. One of those games was Kenny Pickett, no?
I played this game before, and the answer to one of these questions is Kenny Pickett. No?
Incorrect. It was Trubisky
Rudolph.
again.
Trubisky again.
The Panthers in 21.
Panthers in 21. So
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Correct. And finally, the Seahawks in 08.
Oh.
Seahawks in 08 was Matt Hasselbeck?
No,
incorrect.
No, wait. Oh, shoot. Don't say this one. I know it. Oh, God. Like Seneca Wallace?
Correct. Seneca Wallace
I was at
is
that
correct.
game.
Now I see why he wins all the games that he goes to.
No.
Yeah.
For Joe Burrow,
there's a common theme, so I would anticipate seeing someone other than Lamar Jackson when you go.
Snoop Huntley.
Maybe it'll be Cunningham. I don't know.
All right, final email. Camrion from Inglewood, California. You know where Inglewood is?
Always up to no good.
Yep.
That's right.
In terms of the schedule release, I'm most excited for Week 5 prime time on the road. I personally think that has to be Drake May's coming out game. Hope he can plant his flag and put the league on notice that he's here to stay. And the Patriots are back to being relevant again. What better test for the team than against the division champs?
It's a good game. Nice to avoid Buffalo in January. They've been late there the last couple years.
Chances of that game getting flexed out?
By week 5, I don't think so.
Not early in the season. I'd say better chance for can they flex the Monday night game?
Yeah.
The Giants game later in the season? That would be where my money would be. If we're talking flexing.
Okay.
I would agree.
All right, well, listen. It's been fun.
It's been
but
real.
It's over. So that's it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered.
This will be our last show.
Life.
It's over.
Life in general.
What's going on this weekend? Anything big? Celtics tomorrow night?
I'm not allowed to talk about the Celtics anymore. So.
You can. You just have to put money
Yeah,
in the
40
jar.
seconds.
Yep.
Wouldn't want to go an
Forged
hour
in
on the Celtics.
Foxborough.
Forged in Foxborough. Look for that tomorrow. Look for that. We'll make sure that if you're on social media, you know that it's dropped. So that'll be coming out tomorrow. Very excited. And other than that, see you next Tuesday.
Hey, this is Matisse. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure to follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else here that we do at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.